5. You can always be a part of the show, 800-239-9569, 800-239-WJOX, because we're going to talk Alabama early, and I want to know what people think about this.
Hey.
And some of the things happening around the program, not necessarily the X's and O's, not necessarily who's going to be back, what the depth chart appears to be, but a little bit of a different viewpoint on where we think Kalen DeBoer is and some other things with Alabama that could be complicated. They've been complicated in the past. I'd like to know from you, Greg, where you think Kalen DeBoer and his staff are as far as managing the, I'll say the peripheral that comes with being the Alabama head coach. There are a lot of folks, you don't want to follow Saban. You can't follow the GOAT. A lot of distractions. A lot of people want to get their hands on things. And that's at a lot of programs. We know Alabama is a little extra. There's no doubt about that. Mike Casagrande going to join us at 9:20 today to discuss it as well. Just being around the program, following it a little bit of a different way than we do. Want to hear his opinion on it. Wimp Sanderson, the coach, with us at 9. Really interesting article from Shehan Jeharaja on Texas Tech and their mega booster, how things are happening, why things are going the direction that they are. We'll discuss that. And that's an example there where somebody has come in and made them very different, probably has a lot of pull around the program. I don't know if Kalen DeBoer has to deal with things to that extent, but there are always going to be individuals that are tough to deal with. There are always going to be things that need management that maybe you didn't expect, maybe you didn't see. Where do you sort of view Kalen DeBoer there as far as where he was a year ago with this Alabama job?
Well, I think he's fine. Here's my thing. I think the people that support Alabama have had a harder time adjusting to Kalen DeBoer than Kalen DeBoer has had a hard time adjusting to Alabama. Like the problem is not with Kalen DeBoer. The problem is with the people that expect it to be a certain way. Why is he not wearing a polo on the sideline? Why is
He didn't have a collar, Greg.
Why is he allowing his coordinators to speak? Why is he nice? It's like
that was my first concern.
Why is he normal guy that goes and picks up his own prescriptions and goes to the local CVS? Why is he doing that? Why is he giving his number to people that, as he tries to introduce and make friends in a new community? So I think people had a hard time adjusting because they lived with, why is he driving himself to the Regions golf tournament, whereas the last guy is leaving with 8 cop cars? Literally. And that's not a knock on Coach Saban. That's just Coach Saban demands a lot. He's a lot. Kalen DeBoer is very normal. And I think a lot of people have kind of struggled with that. And I think he probably underestimated the platform that comes with being the head coach at Alabama. I think he probably didn't realize just how insane it might be. But I think he's come around to that now. And I think he is a competitor and a guy that has had success everywhere he's been. So he's kind of all in on trying to get this season to go and to have a great year and to make sure that they don't have the inconsistencies that they had last year. But I also think the Alabama fan is more comfortable. I was talking with a guy yesterday. It's a great example. I'm talking to him yesterday. Hey, what do you think about Coach DeBoer? So I love him. I've loved him from the beginning. I think he's great. I think he's a perfect fit. I love that he's a complete 180 from a personality standpoint for Saban. I think anyone that came in that in any way, shape, or form resembled Saban would have been a problem because it would have come across as lacking authenticity. And you need a guy that's just going to be himself and is just going to do it his way.
Nobody wants a copycat.
No. And they're like, I completely agree. I love him. I think he's great. I was disappointed with how the team played at times last year, but now that I've kind of gotten to know him, I'm really glad that he's our head coach. I think a lot of people are starting to feel that way.
There's a good article up on 3 Sports has it. Ari Wasserman, who's joined the show before, friend of the show, a good friend of mine. And he says inside the article that the chief goal for Kalen DeBoer for Alabama in 2025 should be to make Alabama scary again. Quote, remind the world Alabama's still a premier program. One that will stuff you in a locker if you start feeling too good about yourself. Some of the bully ball that we had seen in the past under Nick Saban.
Did they not do that last year? They stuffed LSU in a locker on their home field.
Missouri, I will give you that. I think that happened there.
They smashed Missouri. They beat Auburn up pretty good. There were moments last year where they did that, but
Absolutely moments, no doubt.
how scary was Georgia last year?
I think
How scary was Texas?
yeah.
Is anyone scary anymore?
we talked about it yesterday.
Not Siri, scary. Not Siri, scary.
She's chiming in already.
Phone starts to lighten up.
But I think we mentioned yesterday, if you missed the show, there was a portion we talked about college football defenses, started with SEC defenses, and just said, hey, if the super scary defenses, the Georgia of 5 years ago, the Bama of 8 years ago, 9, 10 years ago, whatever they were, if those were your billionaire defenses, like we got a bunch of pretend millionaire defenses right now, as far as just how you view them on the surface. Doesn't mean they won't be good. Doesn't mean they can't buy a lot of cool stuff. Doesn't mean they can't live a great life, but they're not walking in doing whatever the hell they want all the time, no matter what the circumstances are. They're just not. And those defenses could operate that way. They could rush 3, they could rush 4, they could rush 9, and they could get away with it because they could cover. They could get away with it because they would knock you down. They would knock you out. And most of this, Greg, I think where Ari's kind of going here, was done before the game kicked off.
Yeah.
And that's where I do think Alabama has lost a little bit of an edge. And that's to no one's fault. It's not Kalen DeBoer's fault. It's just.
Had they lost a bit of an edge
down
the stretch at Saban's tenure?
I think because football's just different right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't play the style of ball that I think when people look at the lore of Nick Saban at Alabama, that style of ball is very difficult to maintain right now. You just said it. How, quote, scary is Georgia right now? Honestly.
Like quick
do you and
attack?
I sit there and look at Georgia's offensive line and say, there's not a D-line in the nation that can manage that group? Like they're just going to push you around and there's nothing you can do about it. Absolutely not. Is their quarterback going to pick you apart?
No. There's like one scary team that I've seen the last couple of years, and it was Michigan 2 years ago. That group was rugged, physical.
If you're talking about walking into a room and they just say what they want and do what they want and no one can do anything about it, that was that Michigan
and make
team.
you like it.
Yeah.
Like here's just a smack. I'm going to smack you right across the face. And there's nothing you can do about it. Like there's not a lot of teams like that anymore. And there are other variations of scary. Like
Sure.
that Washington team is scary as can be. Like it could be 2nd and 13. They'll hit a 70-yard bomb over your head. It's like, golly, like different type of scary.
Sure.
Not a bludgeon you scary, but like I'm going to run right by you and I'm going to hit it in stride. And here we are thinking that we just sacked you on 1st and 10. It's 2nd and 16. We're about to get the ball back. We're in great shape. And then Michael Penix drops back and heaves one 50 yards downfield for a touchdown. Like, that's really scary. Like, that's really frustrating and demoralizing. So, Joe Burrow and LSU, were they scary? No. Scary for a different reason. Super scary for a different reason. So, I think scary has different. I think when people think scary, they think like baseball bat across the face.
Yeah, we haven't changed our viewpoint on that based on where the game has gone. And by the way, maybe not where the game has gone, where college sports has gone. I don't think this is a football problem right now. How many number one seeds go into the NCAA tournament and we say, I've got Duke going to win it all when you fill your bracket out and there's no questions asked.
Well, I mean,
I said North Carolina. No, like they got 3 lottery picks.
Florida, no problem. No, I mean, literally doing cartwheels.
You're the basketball expert here that always gets it right. We know.
I don't be mad at me.
I'm not.
I am on a remarkable hot streak of picking the champion.
What horse race are you picking today? Get us going so we can give us a winner here.
4-horse and Gulfstream.
Where are we today? At New Hill Downs? Where are we racing today? Who's on the carts? The buggies, whatever those things are called.
New Hill Downs.
I don't know what it is.
Is that the offshoot?
No, I've said before, you and my neighbor 2 doors down are the only one that knows anything about horse racing outside of 3 weekends a year. I don't know anything about horse
racing outside of.
You said on this show, I've made some pretty good money on the horses over time.
Oh, I've won 1 race. And
what do you bet, 2 weekends a year? You get lucky 2 weekends a year? I'm up on horse racing.
I mean, no, we won an exacta this year.
I'm in the green.
I mean, I'm not like some horse racing expert, but I do enjoy horse racing. You can enjoy horse racing and not know a lot about horse racing. I can enjoy watching the NBA.
Go to some of the Duke Carolina teams, some of the Kansas teams that we've seen over time.
Yes.
Some of those, like even the Billy Donovan Florida teams, like there have been basketball teams in recent memory that it just didn't look like anybody was going to be able to do anything about it.
It was over before the tournament started.
And we've seen some lower seeds get to the Final Four. We've seen some of the seeds that we thought were easily going to advance, not advance. I think college baseball is the same thing. I mean, we didn't go to I mean, Kyle Peterson said on the show Monday, I'm still not sure LSU's a better baseball team, but they played better baseball over the last week.
What do you mean they won 2 in a row?
Proved it on the field. But it's also we're not seeing some of these teams that are losing 1 or 2 games. I mean, LSU goes lose a series this year. It can happen. He said I'm still not sure Arkansas was a better baseball team. They made a lot of mistakes though against a really good team. So whether it's spreading the wealth or not having the development, maybe losing guys to the portal and having to replace guys, that hurts your aura to a certain extent because you don't have the same guys doing it over and over. Like, when does a team really become truly scary? When you know what they're capable of, right? Well, how many guys are playing at the same place for 3 and 4 years?
Yeah.
I mean, we maybe, I don't know, this is just throwing it out there. Maybe we should be saying Miami is super scary on offense right now. But we haven't seen Carson Beck play football there.
No.
We don't know.
Maybe.
But they might be.
Could be.
Just maybe that's part of what takes it away. So I do follow where Ari's going, that when Alabama has been at its best, that aura has been very strong.
Correct.
That perception, and even though the perception a lot of times very real to go with it, has been very strong. And I think you're fooling yourself if you say that some of it's not gone. As you stated, a lot of it walked out the door with Nick Saban. Because people who have never seen a second of film immediately are going to say, "That ain't the same Tide. Ain't the same. He ain't there."
It wasn't the same.
It's just what it is.
It wasn't the same in 21. It wasn't the same in 22. Like 22. I mean, they've evolved since into a pass happy attack. Let's just acknowledge it for what it is. Like, they've not had a heavily favored rushing attack since 2016. And that's almost a decade. So, I mean, if your version of bully ball, like if you really subscribe to the 2009 team that just wants to absolutely sledgehammer you, or the 2011 team that wants to sledgehammer you and hold you to 1.7 yards a carry, like I get you. I love that. But guess what?
You're also not playing a team in the I formation that runs inside toss 17 times a game.
It's toss pitch power.
Same thing.
Okay.
It can't be power if you don't pull anybody.
Duo.
What are you, a Fox play-by-play guy?
Whatever. Either way, when you look at
quarterback power again,
guess what? That style doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't. It's too spread out. It's different. And guess what? If you have that style, you better have better players. And guess what? Alabama doesn't always have the best players anymore. It's no longer the case. It hasn't been the case for a while. Doesn't mean they can't win the national championship, but their roster every single year blindly, we could just for a while there just blindly point to who's the best roster in college football without even looking at any other roster. I could comfortably say Alabama for about 8 years. Agree?
Yes.
I didn't even have to look at it. Alabama's probably starting in 2011 all the way through 2018. I could tell you that's the best roster.
And to further that point, sorry to interrupt you, but on any given year, how many other teams do you think you would even allow a debate with on that topic? 3 at the most, 2 at the most? There was a Georgia team here and there, an LSU team here and there. Maybe Ohio State got there a year or two.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that was it.
It was about
Clemson later in that run. But you weren't we weren't laying out 15 teams saying, well, they can make a case. They can make a case. That's a maybe. No, it was maybe 1 or 2 other teams every year, and that was it.
That was it. And now it's, you tell me who the best roster is. Texas?
God, that's a great question.
I mean, like, who's the best roster? I mean, like, that's a little open-ended. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but, like, who's got the most talented roster? Probably Texas.
Yeah. I love how that question has changed, though, because the era that you are referencing, it was overall talent and probably draftability is how people looked at that. Oh, that's a first-round tackle. Well, you and I talked about Alex Leatherwood the other day. Like, he ain't playing football anymore.
He played 2 years in the NFL.
And he was a guy in college that we viewed as, that's an elite talent. And he was a good college football player. I'm not saying he wasn't.
He's a good college football player.
But that's kind of, maybe the viewpoint now should be more 3-year starter in the Sun Belt or the Mountain West that's going to come in and really help your team do what they need to do, but not going to get drafted until the 5th or 6th.
Yeah. And guess what? Like right now, I think we're kind of getting back to like the it's a little bit like basketball right now. It's like He's a really good college player. And that's okay. Like, he's not a franchise quarterback. The fact that Dylan Gabriel got drafted in the 3rd round is just the most Browns move ever. Really good college player.
Speaking of Browns, we got to talk about them today, too.
Oh, God. I can't wait.
No, it's actually
I'm sure it's great.
combo.
It's Joe
It
Thomas.
really is.
Joe Thomas was great.
That's
They
exactly
have
where we were
Myles
going.
Garrett. It's the AFC North. Rugged. All right.
It was actually, can Terrell Pryor come back and start at quarterback?
Is he still trying to? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know where he's at. But I think it's like we've now kind of come around to it's okay if you don't play 15 years in the NFL because no one's roster has 15-year pros. You're like, oh, yeah, for sure. That guy's playing 15 years. Okay, Jeremiah Smith. Yeah, he'll play as long as he wants. Ryan Williams. Yeah, he'll play as long as he wants, assuming he stays healthy and keeps his like all the stuff, right? Like all the things that you have to do to make sure you stay on the straight and narrow. Like there's a few transcendent talents that you'll see in college football that you're like, yep, he's going to be around for a while. Will Campbell was that guy last year. Like he's going to play forever.
Yeah.
And when he can't play tackle anymore, he'll slide to guard and he'd be a 3-time Pro Bowl guard. But now I think that there's more and more people that are like, all right, that guy's a really good college player and he's a 4th year. He's been playing college football for 4 years. We'll take him. And so our roster might not be as good, but it'll be steady as can be. We won't have the ceiling, but we won't have the floor. That, I think, is what more and more people have come around to, and that's what the portal's done, is it's raised your floor. And in some cases, it lowers your ceiling because culturally you won't be as strong.
Yeah, I think to further your point on more like college basketball, Janai Broom's a great example. We'll probably make a lot of money playing in Europe for a long time. Like relative lot of money, not Cooper Flag money, a lot of money, but compared to us normal people, a lot of money.
Mark Sears, same thing.
Yeah, a lot of money playing overseas, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like you get Josh Majette from UAH, but it made a lot of money playing overseas. Not a lottery pick, so therefore we would look at those guys on college teams like, I don't know if it's the best roster because he's not going to go win the dunk contest 5 times. I mean, we don't have a lot of Mac McClungs in college basketball right now.
You know what I mean, though? Like,
it makes perfect sense, and I think it just kind of help people understand where you're going with that. There are a lot of rosters in college basketball that are really good for college basketball, but because they don't project to be NBA superstars, I don't think people oftentimes look at it because basketball is the same thing. 10 years ago, that was how we viewed basketball rosters.
Yes.
How many lottery picks they got? Who did we have winning the national championship every year?
Rutgers.
Kentucky. They had 17 McDonald's All-Americans. They couldn't win it. They won it once. But every year, Cal went and got 4 more McDonald's All-Americans. How's he going to start all 8 of them?
Yep.
Didn't quite work out all the time.
Because coaches look at it, and I don't think people ever think about it this way. I think you and I are trained to see it through the eyes of the coach because of who we talk to on a regular basis. Coaches don't see what's going to make them great. Coaches more often see what's going to get them. So, like, they look at their roster, they're like, golly, this freshman, if we just put this freshman in the game right now at left tackle and just cultivate him and grow him, like he has a chance to be one of the greats that we've had in our program. And we've done it our way. Like he's our guy. Now, instead, they'll be like, you know what? I'll take that 5th-year senior from Kent State who's played 40 career games. I think I'd rather have the guy that's done it, even though the ceiling's not nearly as high as the freshman could be in time, but the floor is not as low as what it would be like with the freshman too. So
yeah, it's like the offensive coordinator talking to the defensive line coach saying, "All right, we get that McElroy kid in there, he gonna maul people." You see him pushing guys off the bench, and then the D-line coach is saying, "Can't wait for 3rd and 8."
Yeah.
Good luck with that one, because I've seen him in pass pro. You haven't. Good luck. You don't go down there with us when we do one-on-one pass rush.
Yeah.
But I hope 3rd and 10 goes really well for you, and you have 4 tight ends over there.
Screen.
Otherwise, your quarterback's dead.
Screen.
We'll just wear him out. We'll run him out past the hash 14 times a game. Good luck, kid. Alabama heat and humidity might not be as bad today with a little bit of rain, but don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable Trane cooling system. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand 11 consecutive years, and they're the official cooling partner here at Jox. Find a comfort specialist near you at Trane.com. It's hard to stop a Trane. We will talk Browns at some point today, not for the reasons you're thinking.
Heck yeah.
Because I think they are continuing a new trend in the NFL that I hate.
Carrying 6 quarterbacks.
16, you mean? But when we come back, I'll ask you guys this question. 800-239-9569. 205-834-9450. You can text in there. You can also tweet in at Mac and Cube. Is Alabama still scary? Does Alabama have to be scary? Can Alabama be scary again? Is it necessary? We'll discuss all that and more with you and get your feedback on it next. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Talking college football and specifically Alabama. How scary the team is. Do they need to be scary again? Is that edge gone and does it need to be back? Is that necessary to go out and win football games? We referenced the story up at On3 Now from Ari Wasserman on some of the things that had been said directed towards the Crimson Tide this offseason. that maybe make you think they got to get that part back. Castellanos saying with Pete Nakos earlier this week, I dreamed of moments like this. I dreamed of playing against Alabama. They don't have Nick Saban to save them. I just don't see them stopping me. First off, I'll just step out and say scary, not scary, good, not good. I don't think it's the best idea to say that about anybody. Because anybody can get got, and everybody does get got. That means everyone can be stopped. Just like you were last year when you walked out of your own locker room.
Oh, boy.
But it can happen. He goes on to reference some of the things said by Diego Pavia in reference to Alabama, which, he's got to win against that team under his belt. So if he wants to pop off a little bit, I guess he has the right to do that. Still doesn't make it the best idea, in my opinion.
He'll also pop off about wins against Kennesaw State and stuff. Like, he's just that guy. Like, he's an outspoken guy.
Who does not know who Josh Pate is, which makes him more favorable in a lot of people's eyes. But you go back and Ari kind of references Tiger Woods and the time at which he was at the top of his game, and that goes back to where we directed it, that it does feel like a lot of this happened pre-event, pre-teeing off, pre-kicking off, that a lot of teams, a lot of individuals were beat mentally, emotionally before that game actually took place.
Yeah.
That's why I direct it to, if this is real, which how do we ever really know? Can we ever really measure it? I don't. What are you going to go back and, unforced errors? Yeah. This isn't tennis where we can, like how many times a guy hit it into the net instead of got it over the net. Like, you can say interceptions, but what if it's a guy making a great play?
Well, I think you can say the unforced errors. Like, there were definitely unforced errors that were had because guys knew they had to force something or they had to fit it in a tight window or whatever it is. So that's a real thing.
Well, but sometimes the ability of the other individuals forces you to make an unforced error.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit different. And so that goes back to what we talked about, the style of football that's being played right now. And I think that's where mentally, Greg, there's not a lot, like how many people looked at some of those Texas Tech offenses and said that they were super scary.
They were not scary because you always felt like you could. Hey,
like when
right.
David Klinger was throwing for 700 yards a game before you were born, not a lot of people were looking at Houston saying, God, that's a scary team. What are we going to do?
They weren't scary because you knew that all you had to do was have the ball last. Like, the reality is it wasn't scary because I could go hang 52. And don't get me wrong, they're going to score 45. I get it. Like, that's a pain to know I got to get the 50 to win, but it wasn't that scary because they didn't do anything defensively to, work that muscle group.
But I think even defensively, though, you have to be dominant to be considered scary on defense. Like, seriously, how many people in normal college football circles who observed it, watched it occasionally, are fans of a certain team, how many of them looked at South Carolina last year and said, man, that's a scary defense. Like, I don't want to deal with them. Not a one of them, but it was. They offered you things you couldn't deal with.
It's true.
I mean, they could cover. They had size on the back end. They had a rotation of defensive tackles that could hurt you in different ways. They could game you. They could play you straight up. They could pressure you. And they had two guys off the edge that you couldn't deal with in one-on-ones. Like, that's a scary defense.
I would agree with that.
But how many of them went in the first round? So people didn't talk about them that way. They just didn't. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, are we stuck in time with the only things that can be scary are a physically mashing run game, and a completely overpowering, suffocating defense?
Probably. Isn't that weird that we're at that
totally
spot?
Weird.
Like, it's strange because the collection of talent. What makes teams scary is knowing they're better than you. Like that to me, it's not the suffocating defense. And guess what? It's all from a matter of perspective. Like, guess what? When Louisiana Monroe walks on the field and plays against Texas, like, they're probably a little scared. You know what I mean? But now I think Ole Miss last year is an example. Like, when we played Ole Miss, they were good, but they weren't great. Especially in 2010, they were pretty dang average. 2009, they were a good football team. 2008, they were a good football team with Dexter McCluster and all those guys. But like 2010, you could tell there was some intimidation. There was. I mean, you could tell. Mississippi State probably had a little intimidation when we played against them. They weren't very good. But I don't think LSU was ever scared. I can promise you LSU wasn't ever scared. Ever. And no matter how good
and
Alabama
LSU
ever
has
got.
LSU has been scary.
Correct.
I mean, you could look at multiple facets of multiple parts of that team, whether it was Montgomery and Mingo off the edge, literally nothing you could do about it. You just couldn't do anything. Glenn Dorsey, how did you block him?
No doubt.
Booger McFarland, you couldn't deal with them. I mean,
LSU
Patrick Peterson, Tyrann.
Guys.
I mean, Tyrann Matthews sitting there, and you're like, we got this, we got this, we got this. Where the hell did he come from?
Yeah.
How did he get the ball out? And that's where I think the thing to me that makes a team truly scary are the multiple ways that they can dominate you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams that can be dominant in one spot, one little spot. And sometimes that's enough. Like Quinnen Williams was overly dominant and literally made it to where it just didn't matter. Not that the other guys weren't good. They were, but nobody was as close to him as far as WAR or whatever you want to call it. PFF impact football rate percentage adjusted QBR, DLR. I mean, but sometimes you can be that in one place, but some of those other Alabama defenses, like when Ashawn Robinson, you didn't call his name for 3 games, and then all of a sudden he was the unstoppable force, like those Georgia defenses. Jordan Davis. You put the film on, you're like, good God, Devonta Wyatt was in the backfield every play. He's the one that made all the plays.
Yeah.
And then it was a different guy the next week and another guy the next week.
Every week it was
That's the times that I look at it and say, man, I don't know what they're going to do. Like you've referenced Michigan a couple of times last year. Like Kenneth Grant could take over a game.
Heck yeah, he
could. Then Mason Graham's taking over a game. Well, then Moore's taking over a game off the edge. Like you get to where there's nothing you can do because multiple guys can literally be that force that no one can reckon with. And I don't know if anybody has that anymore. Or they definitely don't have it to the extent because the collection of talent, as you just stated, is not there.
No.
And then I still go back to what I said earlier. If you're going to beat someone mentally and emotionally, I think that has to be built up over time.
Yeah.
Because you've done it like I have, Greg. You referenced Mississippi State. This is a great example. Mississippi State was scary as hell when we played them in college. One, that place was not one to be messed with. It was intimidating. It was dumb for all the right reasons. They played Who Let the Dogs Out 52 times. That's not scary. But you know what it is? Intimidatingly annoying. Like annoying to the point that it affects you. And when it starts to affect you, that is intimidating. And intimidation is a scare tactic. So therefore it worked. They did a stupid dance before kickoff.
Baja Men.
But you know what it did?
Baja Men.
Did they do the first one?
Who Let the Dogs Out did Baja Men.
Yeah, that was Baja Man.
I don't know. Well, somebody just copied it.
I'm a little bit stuck on that point. Because I agree with everything you said.
It's collective. I'm telling you all.
I agree with everything you said, except for
Did
Baja
I not
Men.
just say it's stupid?
I'm not scared of Baja Men. I'm scared of the crop duster that flew over
collectively
as their flyover, and I swear it was 8 feet off the field.
Collectively,
I thought I was going to get hit by the prop.
Collectively, it added to part of the intimidation because it distracted you and it annoyed you. And they had some guys on defense that they were in the 90s. Mississippi State defense in the 90s was the perfect example of what you just said with basketball. Because, like, Willie Blade was too small to be a dominant NFL defensive lineman. Like, Fred Smoot didn't have elite corner speed. Like, they had Pig Prather was not fast enough to be an NFL safety or big enough to be – he wasn't athletic enough to be Derek Thomas or Lawrence Taylor. But, by God, those dudes made life hell on you when you played them.
Yeah.
Well, they were all the guys that were an inch too small or 10 pounds too heavy or not quite fast enough, but every single one of them wanted to kill you on every play. And so that got
Fletcher
you.
Cox was scary.
They had, I'm going to say Jeffrey Simmons, I wouldn't want to block him.
No.
They had guys. Montez Sweat was great, but I'm just saying they had a collection of dudes.
Yeah.
That you could throw in a back alley and you would never bet against them. Not one single time. Be like, oh, the other group's got switchblades. Don't care. They got baseball bats. And
they got throwing stars.
Had they learned how to use them yet? We got nunchucks. I'll take.
Nunchucks
I'm just saying.
Rip.
I'll take that group because I know the kind of personalities they were. However, that built over time. That wasn't one defense one year that you said, I've seen them for 2 games. You've watched that year after year after year, and it was the same guys that you watch. Like, think about we talked about Jonathan Allen like coming in late against Tennessee. Well, 2 years later, you're like, man, I remember this 93 dude coming in like, God almighty.
Yeah, I actually remember that. We were playing Auburn in 2009, and I remember Vallejos being like, dude, their D tackle is a freaking handful. I go, which one? I mean, I'm not blocking him. He's like 98, dude. That guy's a freaking handful. It was Nick Fairley. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
like, no, and we didn't even know who he was. Like, wasn't even in the plan. That guy's going to be a problem. Like, so you already know from the year before. It's not like that as much anymore.
So I'll continue to ask you the question, and you could chime in. A couple of you are on Twitter, 800-239-9569. Does Alabama have to be scary again? Can they get back to that? Do you need that to win consistently in today's college football? We'll continue the discussion next on Mac and Cube in the morning.
I hope Cole can do this segment. It's going to be too intimidated. It's about to jump in. Yippee-yi-yo. It's the only line I know. Oh, I can't block them. They played that. Ah!
That's exactly what I said.
But didn't they have like the old, was the Jolie Dunn defense where it's like 11 up there on top of playing this?
It's the most unsound defense of all time.
Radar.
And they did it before everybody else was doing it. Everybody, I see people try to credit some of these other D coordinators for doing different things, and he was the first one that had nobody with their hand on the ground that I ever saw. And I've heard a lot of other coordinators say that. I mean, they would have 3 down, 2 down looks. They'd have 9 to a side, walked up, and you're just kind of like, huh?
Come again?
Everything, none of it there was no rhyme or reason for a lot of it. I mean, they would blitz 4 guys in the B gap, the same one. And it feels like a waste of time, but somebody's probably also getting home. I mean, so yeah, it was that on top of how they played. It was a little dirty, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Like, we say that, and all of a sudden people think that, like, people have ice picks at the bottom of the pile. I'm okay with a little bit of dirty. I don't know what else would you call it? Like what like they pushed the limit a little bit. They were overly physical, but it wasn't just physicality. It was talk. It was
no, 100%.
It was look. It was demeanor. It's a lot. I'm fine with it.
You don't need to explain it to me.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about like trying to and putting somebody in a Ken Shamrock ankle lock at the bottom of the pile. Like, that's not what I mean. But
I bit somebody at the bottom of the pile before.
What?
Yeah, guy was trying to gouge my eyes out, so I took his finger and bit it hard.
I've told this story before, but we were on the goal line.
That's all I knew how to do. I didn't know. I felt like a child trying to protect myself.
Actually, it's funny because this is funny because I never thought of that. And because when I hear people playing football on the field say they bit someone, my first reaction is how? Because you have a face mask on. Right. You can't do it really.
You just gotta walk.
We were playing in Athens, and we absolutely kicked their ass. And we were on the goal line. We were on quarterback sneak, and they weren't having a good day. And we kind of got a nice little push on Richard Seymour, got him back into the end zone. We scored. And all of a sudden, like what Greg's talking about, you feel like these fingers coming in your face mask. So I got up. We had a little tussle after the play. The official came over, told our sideline that, 61 does it again. He's out. And
shocker.
Didn't get a flag, though.
Hey. So
and I told my offensive line coach, who was not Rick Trickett at the time, as you know. He's like, what's the problem? I said, he's sticking his fingers in my ear holes and in my face, and he's eye gouging me. He goes, well, bite his damn finger off. It feels like off's going to be tough, coach, but I'll go for it. It just never crossed my mind for whatever reason.
By any means necessary.
But hey.
No, that's what you got to do.
If he wants to go there, then, and I've told people the story before. So I was actually pretty good friends with Marcus Stroud, who played next to him. And Stroud didn't say a word. Stroud, he was not a talker. He was super quiet. He was one of those guys who, if you knew his demeanor, you would never believe he was as good at football as he was. But Richard was different. He liked to talk, but there was some stuff he didn't like to hear. So when that stuff started happening, I would tell Marcus how we were going to go low on Richard before the play, and I would tell Marcus that Richard doesn't like us cutting him. I was like, Marcus, Richard's getting mad again. Like, we're going to cut him on this play. He knows it's coming too. And Richard would start getting wound up. You could see it. And so that would force him some extracurricular activity. Well, now you're out of your game. So I don't view that stuff as dirty, really.
It's not dirty.
That's kind of just
it's gamesmanship.
Exactly. Just playing the game. Now, stepping on somebody's ankle after a play, like, it can get dirty quick.
Oh yeah.
You're definitely walking the line.
Things escalate.
You're walking the line right there. But that was what that Mississippi State team had, man. Like, if the officials allow you to hit 1 second after the whistle, it was a second and a half, or it was 2 seconds every time. If they allowed 2 extra guys to pile on at the end of a play, it was 3 guys after every play. They just pushed all of those boundaries and limits, and the way they played defense and the things that they did in and around the game. It was a weird place to go play. It always felt like the weather was bad. It felt like the grass was too tall. The cowbells are going. Like I said, it was collective. And you start playing this stupid song, and you're just like, what is this? Why would anyone enjoy this? The whole crowd's into it. It was dumb. The whole thing was dumb. But you know what? It worked for them.
Yeah.
So, and that made them kind of scary. And their offense was what we talked about. I mean, they had Dante Walker and some of those running, J.J. Johnson. Like, they just handed the ball off. I mean, it was like, Matt Wyatt and those guys, like, here we come. See what you can do about it. And Pork Chop Womack and these gigantic offensive linemen that, for whatever reason, nobody else could find. And they ran it down your throat. And that was who they were. So they had that style, Greg, that we're talking about, that maybe we just can't get past those styles of ball that can also be scary.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. There are some teams that do carry an extra level of like intimidation because of, I think their colors help, to be honest with you. I know it sounds crazy, but like.
So North Carolina's just out of this.
He's
one.
already said North Carolina can't win
UCLA.
I'm sorry, that matters.
Get them out.
You can say whatever you want.
Is Oregon the outlier, the ultimate outlier?
Yeah. I never played him, but.
No, but I'm kind of with you that
matters.
That affects your perception.
Yeah.
It just does. And when you see Oregon and it's like, shh, 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 all these sleek uniforms, it's like, Okay, all right, cool, but all right, we'll see.
Yeah. Like,
and then you watch Penei Sewell and you're like, that doesn't work.
100%. Like, yeah, that doesn't check out. But I mean, just full disclosure, I still am of the belief that the reason why teams aren't scary nowadays is because the gap between the best and the second best is not that significant. The gap between the best and the eighth best is not that significant. The margins are so much tighter as far as the rosters are concerned nowadays. What makes me intimidated by another team, potentially, not often, but potentially, is the fact that they're better than you and you know it. And that's an uncomfortable spot to be in, knowing, man, I got to thread the needle today because my margin for error is incredibly slim because we are not as good as that other team. That's why there's intimidation. That's why it exists. That's a real thing, I think, for a lot of people. I have to be perfect. And that is what messes people up. And those that actually achieve perfection pull it off. You think of the Johnny Manziels of the world. You think of the Deshaun Watson teams. You think of, Ole Miss, who had a couple bounces go their way in 2015, but you know what? Those bounces ended up making a pivotal difference. I mean, yeah, it can be done. It can absolutely be done, but it requires very, very precise. And honestly, you kind of need the other team to screw it up occasionally. So I think in order for a team to be intimidating, it's not necessarily style of play. It's not necessarily, an offensive philosophy or a defensive philosophy. I think it's strictly knowing that there's a sizable gap with what you have compared to what they have. And that's what causes intimidation.
Okay.
And that doesn't exist anymore.
Not as much. No, it doesn't. What does exist is Game Day Men's Health, and they want to help you feel better. Game Day Men's Health can help you if you're feeling on edge, if you're lacking sleep, you have low energy, a lot of different ways that they can do it. And it's easy. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today, sign up for the free consultation. You're going to get a free PSA test, free testosterone test, and they'll get a baseline where your health is. Weight loss programs, peptides are in stock now. There's so many different ways that they can just help your health get to where you want it to be. Locker room environment, no pressure. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now. Sign up for that free consultation, see what they can do for you. We will get some of your calls. Missed a couple, but 800-239-9569. Get in there. Text in 205-834-9450. Scary football teams. Can they exist again? Next, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. What teams scare you? Do you have to be scary to win college football games today? Tate tweets into the show. Fred Smoot had one of the best quotes of all time. 75% of the world's covered by water. The rest is covered by Smoot. He was an all-time talker. I'll give him that.
That's awesome.
There's no doubt.
That's a great thing to say.
He would have thrived in today's day of college football because would have had things to say on a very regular basis. Jamie Bailey tweeting in, when Saban retired, college football had a collective sigh of relief. Bama last year lost a little bit of the edge it once had. I'm a Bammer, but my gut says the edge will be back this year. We will see. But I go to what Greg said, a little bit, not all of it. A little bit of it was gone the last couple of years under coach, maybe.
Correct.
Greg Skipworth tweets in, I think Bama can be scary in different ways. It used to be defense that scared people. There might be other ways to scare teams. At the end of the day, efficiency on both sides of the ball wins games.
They can definitely be scary again, but I do think that the age of murder ball is out. Would love her to come back. I love that style of play. It's so fun to watch, but I just don't think you can collectively accumulate the quality of personnel on the offensive and defensive lines now to be able to play that style.
He also tweets in, Georgia's being assessed based on 21-22 seasons. They got pushed around last year like every other team. Aren't as dominant. Pushed around?
They've definitely gotten gashed in the run game.
Yeah, at the SEC championship game against Alabama a couple years ago, I would allow that one to be referenced as pushed around. I don't know if I would. I'm not saying that you can not be great in the run game and not get bullied. I haven't seen Georgia necessarily pushed. I wouldn't reference it that way a lot. And also, I do think that there were some really good Georgia teams in the middle of that Bama run that helped build to where they are that don't get near as much credit. Once again, it's the same thing we're talking about now.
Yeah.
Like some of those Aaron Murray Georgia teams, and right after that were really good. But they don't get the credit for how good they were, how talented they were, because teams like Alabama, LSU were just that much better. And they were the dominant force. They were the scary team then. So you didn't talk about them that way. So I don't know. Do you have to be scary to win in today's college football? Or can you even get back to that,
I love how people are like, well, Georgia was scary in 21-22. Yeah, that's a pretty good run of fear. And I think that holds over some. Like Georgia's a tough team to play, man. Go watch the Texas game last year. Tell me there wasn't a little bit of...
Specifically the first one.
That's what I mean. There was a little bit of hesitation with Texas that day. Why? Because Georgia was firing their gun.
They weren't sure they wanted it.
And they were out for blood. So you got to give a lot of credit to Georgia that it's still in there. They still have that identity. They're still a hard hat and lunch pail outfit, but maybe not what they were 2 or 3 years ago.
You may have just accidentally gone down a path that we need to discuss with that. First, AC's dad tweets in, do I want joyless murder ball? Yes. But that era of ball is over, not just for Bama. I just want to see consistency from week to week. I think he's more along the lines with what we're talking about of, is that just gone in general?
Yes.
And maybe what you just brought up, Greg, is the most difficult part of it. Maybe teams will never get to that again. Maybe teams will never be overly dominant in the respects that we have been discussing. But maybe it's being closer to that more consistently that can get you that edge, that can get you the scare tactics, that can make people intimidated of you, because a lot of teams seem to have it in them. It just doesn't come out week to week. Ohio State last year would be a great example of that.
Yeah, playoffs.
That defense could be really scary. Wasn't a lot during the regular season. Georgia, same way. There were times on defense they looked unstoppable. Other times, meh. So we'll continue that conversation, talk a little Texas Tech next. There are certain teams in college football that are probably not getting the discussion that they deserve. Deserve might not be the phrase that's accurate there. Discussion that they warrant because of what they might be able to be this year, because of how they're doing things, because of how they're now operating. I think Texas Tech would be one of those teams. Hour number 2 underway, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, Thursday, June 26th, 8 a.m., right here on Jox 94.5. Listen online, joxfm.com, apps in your app store, iPhone, Android. Tell your home smart speaker to enable the Jox skill, or you can just watch us live on YouTube every morning. Search Jox 94.5. Texas Tech has somebody behind them that is allowing them to operate in a very different manner. CBS Sports has an article up now. Shahan Jeyaraja has written that article about Cody Campbell and what he is doing for the Texas Tech program. Shahan, I appreciate you joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. There is so much intrigue for me behind this story because of who Cody Campbell is. I think it's, first off, there's such a different angle for me because not only did he play, he played there. We get a lot of these big money boosters that they don't know a lot, the inside and outside of football, the inner workings of a locker room. This man does. How different does that make his approach with what he's doing for this athletic department?
Well, I think that it gives him a level of expertise of just how football works and how the organization works. And, you know, it's fascinating, too. I think that it's very influential to him. He played offensive line specifically at Texas Tech. So he's somebody who's used to being a little bit more of a supporting character, I guess you could say, in the football world. But, you know what, especially after he made a massive sale of one of his company's leases this past year, like he really did focus in, I think, on football, trying to understand this new era, trying to understand what advantages that Texas Tech must have, and also, again, the ways that he might be able to help spur that process along. So, again, you know, it's fascinating to be around somebody who, one, is so young. I mean, he played for Mike Leach from 2001 to 2004. He's really not an old guy to be a billionaire. And I think both the business mindset that it comes with and also the football mindset that he really grew up with.
When you look at a guy that has this level of wealth, that is so active in trying to make sure that Texas Tech is relevant, how do they avoid overspending for guys when it's really not a resource question? That's my thing. I feel like the Texas oil money's a different level and they can just go and get whoever they want, but they might go and get the guys that aren't the right guys to get. How are they balancing that?
Well, and that's a fantastic question. And, you know, I think it's so easy to tell stories like this as, well, they just threw money at everybody. They overpaid. Like, that's how they approached it. And, you know, look, there's some truth to that, but I think that really isn't telling the whole story. So back in July 2024, Cody Campbell came to the table with James Blanchard, the general manager, Joey McGuire, the head football coach, Kirby Hocutt, the athletic director, and said basically, look, we don't know how long this landscape is going to last. I want to be prepared for the portal season as soon as it opens, and I want to bring in one of the best portal classes in the country. And so, you know, I think that you really give a lot of credit to James Blanchard and the scouting staff who went in and said, where can we find the most value? Where can we get the most bang for our buck? And where can we get the most reliable results? And they prioritized the trenches right from the beginning. You look at the past 15 years of Texas Tech athletics, they've had individually great trench players, but they haven't had good units. And in fact, you talk offensive line, Texas Tech hasn't had a quarterback until Barrett Morton last year who went through an entire season without getting hurt since Patrick Mahomes in 2016. That's how long it's been. And so they prioritize that position group both from the perspective of finding prospects, but also evaluating prospects. What are we willing, like you said, to put into a player? How much is reasonable to spend? And there were guys who certainly they pushed the envelope. I mean, David Bailey as an edge rusher, when he entered from Stanford, I mean, they were willing to get into more of a bidding war. They were willing to spend a little bit more. And according to my colleague Chris Hummer, his deal cleared $2 million, which is obviously a tremendous amount for an edge rusher. But ultimately, I mean, again, like you said, you want to make sure that you have guys who fit what you do, who fill specific niches and roles that you need on your roster, and also that you have at least an understanding of what valuation you feel like ultimately they make sense in your ultimate amount of resource that you have.
Shahan Jayaraja of CBS Sports joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, talking Texas Tech and Cody Campbell. It's a fascinating article. We'll share it from our Twitter feed if you have a chance to go read it. You've heard about, you may not know the name yet, but you've heard about a guy that's doing these things for Texas Tech, and it's putting them right in the middle of things, not just in college football, but athletically, specifically in softball, where some of the money being spent there is, I don't think, anywhere close to what some other people are doing. There's one thing that stuck out to me in your story a little bit more than others, and that is when you're talking to Cody Campbell, he said college sports are a business more than they are ever before. What return does he anticipate or expect here outside of just personal joy that his alma mater is winning?
Yeah, and it's funny you say that. I asked that exact question to him. You judge investments based on returns, and he said, look, there's a couple tangible ways that we will judge return. One is certainly with results on the athletic field, right? And he acknowledged football especially is one of the toughest to kind of do that. Like with softball to a certain extent, like when you have a certain level of player, you can kind of expect a certain level of result. Well, with football, with the amount of players involved, with the bounce of the ball, like they acknowledge that, you can't just decide, hey, we're going to win a national championship because we spent a bunch of money. But they do want to see returns on the actual athletic field, certainly. They want to see returns in terms of attention. I'm sure, for example, for journalists like me to go out there and write about them. They want to see returns economically in the Lubbock community and with Texas Tech athletics. And they want to see reputational advancements. I got a chance to talk to Joey McGuire, the head coach over there, who less than 10 years ago was a high school coach outside of Fort Worth. And he pointed a lot to this team that he had in 2006 at Cedar Hill High School. When he took over Cedar Hill, this was a place that hadn't won a single high school playoff game in football. And he took them to a state championship in his fourth season. And from that moment, it changed the way that Cedar Hill looked at itself. It changed the way that other programs looked at Cedar Hill. And it really started, in a lot of ways, a winning tradition because of that first team. They want to have that kind of return when this roster ultimately reaches its conclusion.
Seems like it's certainly within reason. So what is success? Is it making the college football playoff at a minimum, or do they have higher sights set than that?
Yeah, I think for them, they really want to be in Arlington. That's the biggest thing. They want to be playing for a Big 12 championship. They want to prove that they are right there at the end of the day, that they have a chance to be one of these programs that every recruit, that every player believes that you can go and compete for championships at. I think that there is an acknowledgement that, hey, you know what, like this is also going to be hard. There's a lot of luck. I mean, last year in the Big 12, 4 teams tied for first place in the conference with 7-2 records, and so 2 of them didn't get to play for conference championships. So there is a level of understanding of just the nuances of how football is going to work, but they want to be there in Arlington. They want to win the Big 12. They want to be in the college football playoff. They want us to be having conversations about them as we head into the month of November. And, again, I don't think that people realize, like, since 2019, they're one of only 2 or 3 programs in the power conferences that has not been ranked at any point in the AP poll. They want to change that as soon as possible, and they want to reputationally improve the standing of their athletic department and their football program heading into 2026.
This is an interesting conversation in a lot of different ways because kind of when Greg references the expectation and I mentioned the return, the word that usually arrives when those kind of conversations are taking place, Shahan, is patience. Does having Cody Campbell doing what he's doing for Texas Tech provide more patience? Does it put more pressure on? Is there less patience because there's essentially one guy who's backing a lot of this? Where does that balance come into play in all this, in your opinion?
Well, I think that the thing that kind of ruins the patience for them is that this 2025 roster, they might not be able to replicate this strategy again because, look, we're going to have to wait and see what exactly the salary cap looks like, what exactly enforcement looks like. But part of the reason that they put so much into this roster is because they knew that rules might be coming down the pipe and that there might be limitations heading forward that don't necessarily exist for this roster. So this is in many ways a once in a lifetime roster where you have a truly uncapped situation where you're able to be first to market, where you're able to prioritize and land almost all of the guys that they really wanted to land in the portal. So there is a lot of pressure. I got a great anecdote actually. Joey McGuire's wife Debbie, who of course is a longtime high school football wife, right? She was basically like, Joey, are you sure you want to do this? Like, don't mess this up because I love it here in Lubbock. When Joey McGuire took this job, he says, I'm going to die here in Lubbock, which, by the way, he was only 50 years old. I think it's a little early to be making proclamations like that, but they really love it out there, and they understand, you know what? Like, we are increasing the level of pressure on us. If this fails, like, Joey McGuire's on the hot seat. He is not right now. He's beloved right now. But they still felt like, you know what? It's worth taking this swing. And, again, I think that if they lose a tiebreaker to miss out on the Big 12 title game, nobody's going to be mad at them. But they understand there are expectations here, and 2025 is the season that they have to deliver.
Well, Shahan, it's really cool stuff, man. It's a great article. I appreciate you taking some time to join us and just kind of give us a little background on how this is happening. I think just the Cody Campbell involvement based on where college athletics has come in the last 5-6 years just makes it fascinating. I appreciate you hanging out with us today, man. Great stuff.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
All right, there you go. CBSSports.com, where you can go find that article now on Cody Campbell, his impact at Texas Tech. The article reads, West Texas boom inside Texas Tech's bold all-in bet on NIL and the billionaire landman responsible. Shahan Jayaraza, you can follow him on Twitter. Find his work there at CBSSports.com as well. I want to follow this up with you, Greg, because you have a little more insight. I mean, you were offered to play at Texas Tech. You grew up and were recruited a little bit closer to that program than a lot of folks. How sustainable is this? How real are the expectations this upcoming season? Are they even real expectations yet? Do people expect them to be a team that truly contends? We'll talk about that and more next on Mac and Cube in the morning. 8:15 Thursday, June 26th, Jox 94.5. Talking a little Texas Tech and can they be that team that some people think can be? Also, we mentioned earlier in the show, scary football teams. Can they be real anymore? Can you be a scary team? Is the style of ball just so different that it doesn't even matter because you're not going to get there? And are we stuck in 10 years ago as to what scary is as far as how a team is created, put together? 800-239-9569. You can listen online, joxfm.com. Tell your home smart speaker to enable the Jox skill. Also, watch us live on YouTube each and every morning.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year, the national champs. Talking with Andy Cole the other day. Jonathan Yeager actually talked to him by proxy yesterday as well. So got to visit with both those guys, man. Just the best. They're doing such a great job continuing to serve our community and all those in need of a new vehicle here in the Southeast. You can go and get yourself a GMC Sierra 1500. There's deals like this that are just, I just don't know how they make any money. It really blows my mind. A 1500 GMC Sierra that is $15,000 off the sticker price. This is a Denali Ultimate. It's the nicest truck on the road. Ultimate high-level trim. Beautiful, beautiful vehicle. You can get it for just under $72,000. It's $71,790. And you won't find that deal anywhere else. Bill Smith sells more than anyone here in the Southeast. Therefore, they can give you better deals than anyone in Southeast. They pass the savings on to you because their overhead is less than those here in bigger markets. So highly recommend you taking the short drive up to Coleman. You'll be there and you listen to one podcast. You'll be there. And then you can also shop online, have it delivered right to your driveway at Bill Smith Buick, GMC.com.
I mean, there are some podcasts that are like 3 hours an episode. So
you just got to listen to it on 4x speed.
We talked about that yesterday after the show. Do you do that?
No.
Damien, do you listen to podcasts on fast speed?
No.
I have two friends that listen at times 2 and times 1.5. And I don't know how they do it.
1.2 is about as fast as I can go.
I can't. I don't. See, I need the inflections. I need the emotions that people are speaking with and trying to interject. So when I feel like when you listen on fast forward, no matter how, to the extent that it is, you lose that because it's just kind of one voice through the whole thing. Here's your information. You get it. Have it now. Go to this. This is what we said. As opposed to you can tell when somebody's frustrated about something or mad at something or really trying to make a point.
Right.
I'd be interested to hear from the listeners. Do you listen to podcasts on fast forward, whether it's 1.5, 1.2, 2.0, whatever that is?
Yep.
Because I don't know how many people do, but I listen to a couple. I've talked to a few people that listen to a lot of podcasts, some of them our show. And because when the conversation came up, he was like, well, I listen to you and Greg on 2.0. So what happens when we talk like this when you listen to us on 2.0? How does that sound? Let us know how that sounds. I'll pull the Micro Machines man in here, and you won't even know what he's saying.
I can't do it. I can understand those that can, like if it's purely about the actual content itself. But there's too much personality. There's too much about the delivery. Like I like the delivery. I like to have a relation. Like I don't like the people that like to talk like this.
How would you reference that? Do you listen to podcasts on fast forward? Is that how you would say that?
Yeah,
or
like
fast speed. What's the word?
I don't know. Sped up. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you would call it. I can't do it though. I'm a little bit too much of a space cadet. I have ADD, minimal, but I do have it. So I'm not taking daily medication, but probably should. Like, for instance, if all of a sudden on our TV to the top right starts blinking at me, I'll look there for a minute and totally not listen to anything that Cole has to say for about 5 seconds. Be like, what the heck? What do you say?
You realize they're not blinking at you.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to get my attention. With breaking news.
I don't want you to think that's directed at you. I don't think it's personal.
No, I don't think it's personal. I'm not. It's trying to gravitate my attention with a large red bar. It says breaking news, breaking. And I have a tendency to veer off course. And if I'm listening to a podcast, for example, I feel like I'm going to space out for about 6 seconds. And if I have it at 2x speed, that means it's really 12 seconds I missed. So I need to rewind it. And it just ends up taking a lot of time. So I'm kind of down on it.
Okay. Walt wants to talk scary college football teams.
Hang on a second. Before we get to Walt, did you really unplug my charger and plug it into your deal?
Yeah, I was just sitting there.
I'm charging my block.
I'm charging my iPad.
He unplugged my charger, Walt, and plugged it into his own device. So therefore, my charger is not getting charged, but his device is.
This little gimmick right here, you brought in as a community gimmick.
I did.
The multi-charger with all
and
the different.
my charger block.
Right. It was plugged in there.
Block.
So I took community charge and put it in my personal device.
I just want to make sure everybody knows this. Cole is a cable stealer. He's a battery thief.
Hmm?
Sorry, Walt. Go ahead, bud.
Well, when you brag about your battery brick and how it can charge things like nothing else can.
I was at 27% earlier, and I need to charge my brick just in case I get low. I have range anxiety with my battery.
Where are we at here? Oh, 66 here. Have your brick back.
I'm done. He is on. I'm done with him. That
Sorry,
is
Walt.
the equivalent of taking the last piece of pie without asking anybody.
Actually, I would do that too.
That's a given. Like that's.
I don't feel like permission needs
That's
to
just
be
called
granted
dessert.
there.
All right,
You
Walt.
had the opportunity to go get it.
Well,
get in
he's
there.
on the list. I'm gonna punch him in the
Yeah,
face when he's not looking. It's gonna be a
Y'all
cheap
tell me
shot, but I'm gonna do it.
We got to go back a step here. People listen to podcasts at more than normal speed.
Oh, no,
That's
this
like-
is a really normal. I was actually going to ask you first. This is a very, very normal thing. You can there are options. I didn't even know about this until not super long ago. And you can pick between like 1.2, 1.5,
Yeah.
and you can listen to a show at super high speeds.
It's like sing the Stairway to Heaven backwards. Like something you're gonna hear something you're not supposed to. Doing something like that.
Yeah, I don't know if there are subliminal messages when you do
That's
that. but
actually.
yeah.
I might start listening to fast pace in case I can get some subliminals. Love
Here's
that.
our options.
Yeah.
Hold on. Here's our options. 1 times, 1.25 times, 1.5 times, 1.75 times, and 2 times.
1.5.
So you can listen to us
1.25
at
is-
double.
1.25. You can handle that, but
Yeah, that's not
1.5 is
crazy,
a lot.
but necessary. Maybe for Kill Tony to skip through some of the unnecessary bits.
Yeah, I think it's possible, but I'm not one that can. I can't listen to one.
He knows he can stay at school, for possibly 2 more years and make more money than going to make in the NFL.
This is
No,
our
no,
show.
no, no.
This is our show from
Yeah,
yesterday.
I don't know, from a scouting perspective of, guys being in different places for shorter periods of time, this change.
You sound great.
Obviously, we've seen the age requirements and the length of time the guys have been in school or have left in school. That's
Wow,
changed
I sound
over time.
awful.
I just didn't know maybe what was next.
Terrible.
Said because of college football going here. we've
What
got
a
this
nerd.
different perspective.
How big of a nerd am I?
And into more so that junior
You've
class.
always been the nerdy one on the show.
I don't know how people do that. Because honestly, you can't tell who's who.
No.
Okay, go ahead, Walt. Sorry.
Oh, he left.
Why? You want to talk about dangerous football teams? He's probably like, y'all aren't going to let me talk, so I'm out. Sorry, Walt. I apologize. That's my fault. And Greg's fault for not being able to pay attention.
What is medical?
We had a caller?
It's medical issue.
I literally zoned
Just like
out for a
his
second.
calf
We had
heart attack,
Fox News
medical.
alert up there, so
Yeah.
and it says higher tax on millionaires. It's like all this stuff.
Oh,
like
that's
that.
what got your attention. Sorry, we didn't
And
look at
that's
that.
when, now we got it.
We
Now
didn't look up
got
when
it.
that was there.
You guys are idiots.
We don't have that problem.
It's not about that. I'm just like there's things. It's always like breaking, and it's like some type of like, look, Fox News. It just popped up with a big Fox News alert. See, Ah!
Breaking.
breaking. All right, what were we talking about?
Somebody texted in and said, I would like somebody to listen to a Jimbo Fisher podcast.
You couldn't.
2 times.
You literally
My
could not.
God.
It wouldn't work.
That would be incredible.
Marshall Gilliam, Mac and Cube, 2 times speed everywhere. Podcast, YouTube. I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, it was actually very dramatic there for a little bit when you could start watching Netflix at like 1.5 speed on their videos and movies and stuff like that. And all the artists and the SAG were all like, that's wrong. That's you're altering our creativity and all this stuff. But it's like, dude, if I just want to rip through Walking Dead at 1.5 speed, I know what's going to happen. I don't really need the dialogue. I just want to see how they're going to kill this zombie and how they're going to get from this place that they're at here in season 2 to from the house that they're at here to the place in Atlanta where they're at next. It's like, I just want to know how they get from place to place and what we're inevitably going to get to. Like, I'm not too worried about the dialogue or the character building.
Is anybody, I wonder if anybody's watching more like YouTube. Yes, it's visual content, but I think most people for like shows based on YouTube, you're watching it to gain information. So it's the audible portion of it is actually more important. I get that. but are there shows in which they're visually more important than people are watching on fast forward? Like that you have to see what's happening. A TV show, for example, a movie, for example. Like, are we to that point where people are watching Twilight on fast forward? No idea where I went there. Never even seen it.
Maybe that's just what you're watching right now. You try
Right.
Like, are people watching Police Academy on fast forward? Another one that I just
Right.
how that one fell out of the
one
sky.
might
I have
be
no
more
idea.
random. I'm gonna be honest with you. That one might be more random.
Okay, let's see what comes into the brain here. Are people watching more visual content, kind of like Saved by the Bell? I don't know. I'm just saying the things that pop into my brain. I don't know where they come from. I don't know how they get there. Like, are people watching the old 1950s werewolf movie with the guy that had the werewolf face? In fast forward?
Probably that. I mean, especially if it's a silent film. You got to zoom on through.
Like Greg mentioned zombies. Are people watching Walking Dead in fast forward?
I am.
Surely not.
I have.
I don't think so.
Those chase scenes are going to be wicked.
The zombies move faster than you realize.
What happened? I don't know. I didn't know who got who.
Yeah.
I just know they were running.
I mean, if you don't really care about watching what you're watching, then you can watch it at slightly faster speed, but you feel like you need to. Like, if The Wire were to start, if I could watch The Wire on like 1.5, I would do it because I feel like I need to watch it.
You can get your remote and hit fast forward, just let it go. You won't hear anything. Put subtitles on. You're like, he's coming back.
Yeah, that sounds like a great plan.
Rico, what?
Yeah, perfect idea.
Michael Kirby tweets in, was that a podcast of yesterday's show or an auction? 25, I got 25 in the corner of his hands. 25, can I get 30? Can I get 30?
5 now, 5 now. Can I get 5 1/4? Can I get 5 1/4?
That is such a great skill. I wish I had it.
Don't
know why. Sweet. I would probably be the guy that got sent to auction of the dumbest stuff ever. Like,
yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like China or not the country. Like, I'm about to say, things you eat off of.
Are you going to auction off what?
That'd be a lot. I got 442 trillion coming out once. I got Marshall Gilliam, 2-time speed everywhere. I don't. Rod, I know no one that listened to a podcast speed up. Never heard of that. Why would you even listen to it? Also, I don't blame Walt for hanging up. I'm sorry, Walt. That was one of our severe ADD moments here on the show. And you paid the price for it.
Yes. You were.
Unfortunately, you were at the end of that pass over the middle that Greg threw about 4 yards behind you.
No, maybe a little high.
It's his fault. And the protection wasn't great. He had to step up in the pocket. So
I never
that's my
missed
fault.
Behind.
Didn't pick up the two-man twist.
Would occasionally expose the ribs.
It happens.
All right, so we want to hear from you. 800-239-9569. Text into the show, 205-834-9450. Tweet in at Mac and Cube. Do you listen to, or as Marshall says, view things on Fast Forward? If you're trying to fast forward your way into a new home, Gusty Goulas and the Gusty Goulas Group can do that for you. It's easy. All you have to do, go to gustygoulasgroup.com, button at the top right-hand corner of your page, smash that button. Very little information. You'll see what your house is worth right now. Or call 205-542-1996. Because the Gusty Goulas Group, not only are they brokered by eXp Realty, they've served more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. Gusty Goulas Group, recognized both nationally and locally as Greater Birmingham, Alabama's #1 team in homes sold. Gusty has over 850 5-star Google reviews, so just go see for yourself. Google it. Go to gustygoulasgroup.com or call 205-542-1996 today and start packing. We'll be back right after this. I can keep it in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Do you listen to podcasts, watch YouTube on faster speeds? We need to know. 800-239-9569, 800-239-WJOX. Anybody on the text line, Damian, saying that this is normal for them? That they listen to, watch things, consume things at faster speeds?
No, somebody texted in and says I tend to fast forward through scary scenes on TV. So I guess, not built different.
How do you fast forward through a scene of a show that you have not consumed before? You don't know what happened then.
I don't
You can
ask
do
questions, man. Just read the text. And
that you can't do that though.
listen, I don't know. Not my cup of tea.
Okay.
Somebody said the Wire season 2 on 2 times the speed makes sense.
Okay. All right, 800-239-9569. Greg Skipworth says, I listen to everything at regular speed. I wish I could speed up my grandkids crying or when certain coworkers tell me a story. That'd be great.
That's like Click. Be careful with that. You seen the movie?
The movie Click? Yeah, I forgot about that movie.
Yeah. Don't fast forward through special times. They'll teach you. Don't waste your life. If you haven't seen Click, don't fast forward.
Right. It was a good movie.
Great movie.
All right, Marshall was the one that tweeted in he listens to 2 times speed everywhere, including YouTube. That I find very difficult, more difficult than just a podcast. Marshall, please explain.
Yeah, if it's the audio, you said you're getting that content, but if you've got to watch something, you got to slow it down or back it up. But the theory is, I read this somewhere, if you get a book and you have the physical book and then or the Kindle version and you get the audio add-on, try and read it and listen to it at 1x speed. You'll read way past where you're hearing it. And it's proven your brain can process at 2.5 or 3x. So if you can match up the audio as you're reading, you'll actually get to 2 or more. That's how fast you're reading with your eyes in your mind. But when you're listening to it, if you listen to it on 1x speed while you're reading, you feel like you're in kindergarten listening to it. It's so slow. So you can actually process it, but it is kind of weird. It kind of sounds weird.
I think the hard part for that, Marshall, will be most of us when we're listening to a podcast are probably doing something else. Like I don't listen to audiobooks because I don't feel like that I have trouble enough consuming them when I read them.
Right.
So the distractions are a big problem for me, but listening, I think because when I read, I always have to go back and read again. I imagine how much I'd have to go back if I was listening, but is that not an issue as well?
Not really. Now, if you it's kind of getting used to it and listening to and sometimes when it's 2 people, you've got to it takes a second to figure out who's saying what, but you can do everything in twice as fast. You can do an hour podcast in 30 minutes or 40 minutes if you're doing it on 1.5 speed. 1.5 is probably better. Sometimes I go there instead of 2. Just it depends on how people speak. Some people speak slower. Some people speak faster. So it goes 1.5 to 2. But if you get used to it and you then go back and listen to it on 1x, you're like, how did I ever do that?
All right, take us further into the YouTube part, though. Is that just only when you're listening to it, or are you actually visually watching things in fast forward?
Not really watching it. A lot of stuff the visual stuff is not that good. It's more audio. But if it's actually something where there's a presentation or a movie, I don't watch movies or TV shows or anything like that on fast speed.
Right. Okay.
Just informational type stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right, cool. Thanks, Marshall. I appreciate it, man. You're not alone.
Yeah.
You are not alone because I asked on Twitter, do you listen to podcasts at faster speeds? The first 5 people respond 1.25 is the normal.
Yes.
Then I get a 1.25 is max. Bluegrass J, most times 1.5. Captain Cons responds 2 times always. Anything less sounds like people are drunk. Alan Kinney, as fast as possible. Louis DeArmond tweets in, I listened to the bar prep videos when I was studying for the bar at 1.5 speed. Felt like they were talking slow. I passed.
I struggle beyond 1.25. I think it can absolutely be done at 1.25. Anything beyond that is a challenge. I listen to audiobooks all the time.
Let me stop you there and ask you this. When?
Working out.
Okay. or like driving, traveling.
Working out, driving, traveling. That's pretty much it.
And the only 2 times I listen to podcasts are when I'm on the road. I can't do podcast working out. I can't do it on the road, or when part of my workout routine, and a lot of times is walking, I'll listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
But
That's
if
a
I'm
great
like trying to grind, if I'm trying to get like on the Peloton a faster, like hard, intense workout, I can't do a podcast there.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
Well, no, if you're doing Peloton, then you kind of loses its luster because you want to take the class or
Right.
whatever it is. So I do, when I was running a lot, I would listen to podcasts religiously and audiobooks. Like I listened to, when I ran and was training for a marathon, this was in
Have you started your Ironman training yet?
I don't need it. I told you I could do it.
You could do it
already.
today. I forgot.
You're freaking
Today,
high.
yes.
I love how that story got twisted. Anyone that listened to that at 2.0 probably does actually think that I know I can't run a marathon. I cannot run a marathon. I cannot do an Ironman. All right. So let the record stand. Not even close. Not even close. Beside the point, moving forward, when I listened to the entire Harry Potter series. It was fantastic for audiobooks because it didn't require like hardcore thought. I was always interested in like what the deal was. I was 25 years old at the time, and it was highly entertaining, and it made the runs go by really, really quickly. And in some case, you're running for 2 hours. Like it was no problem. So running audiobooks and podcasts all day long. And I actually now have started to listen to podcasts of teams that I'll be covering that week just to hear kind of what the fans are saying. Sure. And to hear stuff like that. So that's been helpful. But when I'm in the gym, it's pretty easy for me to listen to the podcast and stuff. But I will acknowledge that there are times when I'm doing a rep count or something like that, or I have to time it.
When you're maxing out.
No, but like I tried to do, time under tension. I believe in time under tension lifting. That's my thing. It's a little bit harder because it's, 4 down, 1 up, 4 down, 1 up, or 4 up, 1 down, 4 up. So you're kind of switching it up every single set. It has gotten harder since I've started to focus on that. Too much ADD. So I've gone back to music some too. So, but I love podcasts. I absolutely love them, and I absolutely love audiobooks.
Jeremy Raines tweets in something that any of us that have them, I think this will hit home and obviously resonate. He tweets in, the only thing I wish I could slow down is my kids growing up. Sorry, feels like it's times 2 speed, and we would all agree with that. I tell you, it's one of the worst things / best things that iPhones do is when you pick that thing up sometimes and it's got the flashback photo albums. I got stuck on one yesterday. And I was just like, oh, no. They were not that young. Like it doesn't feel like it's too fast, way too fast. Jolly tweets in, podcast while running, that's tougher than running. Have to have music that's motivating when running. Good music. No music, no run.
Okay.
To each their own. It's fine. I can't have a podcast when I'm trying to do a workout that requires a little bit extra effort.
Right.
It's not for me. Greg Skipworth does tweet in asking, does Greg watch Mahjong at 2.5 speed?
Now you play that. You play that at 2 times the speed when you know what you're doing.
You guys make me laugh.
Is Chip Kelly responsible for us listening to podcasts at times 2 speed? Does the hurry up, no huddle offense force this on us?
You guys,
I'm blaming him.
I like you guys. I like our show. And I like our listeners. But I would actually, yes, I have been known to play Mahjong a little too fast. For some of my people that I play with. Does it at times bite me? Sure. But like, I cannot sit there after every single tile and have someone pause. And then we set the tile up and you think about it. Okay, I can't take it. I know you can't take it. It's the third discard of the game.
No one knows what you're talking about.
Those that know.
Like, do you slam it? Do you slam the tile down like Bones?
Domino!
If you got one, do you just throw it out there?
When I was playing a lot of Bones.
Do you have to yell Uno when you have one tile left?
When I was playing Bones back in the day, I would go out of my way to like set it down as soft as possible. And people would be like, bro, you're supposed to pop it. Like, yeah. No, like I'm like, no. I just set it down, and it would make people so mad. It was my game. I had to get in the head a little bit.
So hold on, you can call a timeout in Mahjong?
That's the name of the game. Yeah.
No,
That's
actually,
the name of the game?
of the game is Mahjong.
Yes, you can call a timeout. You can do. Hey, hang on, I'm gonna take just a 30-second.
Do you have to get the officials' attention to make sure you get it in time?
So
Before the next tile's
the
played?
name of the game, you draw
You didn't get
a
it
tile.
in time. We're not
You
going to allow
draw
a
a
timeout.
tile. You look at the tile. You discard a tile. So, for example, if I decide to discard a bam, a 5 bam, boom, set it down.
Hey.
Let's make it 5 million BAMs. Just discard all of them. Get them all out
Or a
there.
5 dot or a 5 crack.
Dog.
Like there's
What about the dogs?
dots,
Get them out.
cracks, and bams. There's
Vols,
3 suits.
get them out.
You got flowers, dragons.
I think I just
all
think I
this
just
stuff.
stumbled into something.
Yes.
SEC Mahjong.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
So
And it's confusing because there's so many tigers and bulldogs. You don't know which is which. Oh, it's a tiger tile. Which one? Because one's
Which
really
one?
good every 3 years.
Mine's purple and
The
gold.
other one every 3 games. The other one's pretty good every year.
yeah.
Just saying.
Well, anyways,
One of them won the East twice.
End of the day,
I love throwing you off track
I'm so
because
off
your
track right
brain
now.
just does not work
I
right sometimes.
can't do it sometimes. Like I honestly, I should be able to hit the curveball after doing the show for how many years now?
Nope.
5 or whatever.
Nope. This is a Dwight Gooden curveball.
No, I mean this is like Clayton Kershaw prime curveball, like 12-6.
Untouchable.
12-6. Can't
Just like
touch it.
Kershaw,
you know it's
you're on the
coming. You
DL
got no
often.
shot. Oh God, here we go. All right, another sidewinder. Like I got it. Just stop for a second and let me respond.
All right, Brian Kelly.
Yes, you can call pause in Mahjong. You can take a 30-second timeout. When you discard the tile, if that tile can help complete one section of your hand, then you can then take that tile. But because so many people have a hard time deciding which hand they're going to actually play, it's like a pause every 3 discards. It's like, can we please speed it up? Let's go. So, yes, that's what happens.
Okay.
I know it's over your head. It's
It is.
A lot of people.
No, everybody's playing.
Couldn't name
Jolly tweets in, I need to know, when the season starts, does GMAC have to go into a Mahjong off season? Do we Mahjong between production meetings or between grinding on tape? Well, if there are timeouts, I'm sure you could just have the iPad there, just watch some games while you
Play a
actually
hand or two.
welcome it. Yes, you can call a timeout. I'm watching third down offense right now. Go for it.
Our neighbors that are currently not in their home, like they're like trying to organize like some mahjong dates or whatever, because the kids can go to sleep and we share a fence. I mean, we can walk to their house, they can walk to our house.
Yeah,
the
that's
kids are
cool.
asleep. Everything's fine. The baby monitor probably still works. I'm sure it does. So yeah, I mean, we might have organized some nightly mahjong opportunities this fall, just to maintain some semblance of a social life, considering that completely goes out the window. So yeah, mahjong season never sleeps.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Social life.
It doesn't exist. The only thing you come in contact with during the season that's not ball are poop bags in your yard.
That's it. We got those. And sometimes I need something to calm me down. When I find those, and your CBD store can help. If you're looking to take the edge off in the evenings, they have products that are a little bit safer, can help you do that. Products to help you get going in the morning, better focus throughout the course of the day. For people like Greg that can't stay tuned into Mahjong when other things are happening.
Excuse me?
You heard me. Your CBD store can help. Go check out one of their 3 locations. Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cage in Cleveland. Trustful just off 459. Largest brick and mortar CBD retailer in the world. First company to have USDA certified organic oil supplements. If you need help with arthritis or anxiety for you or your pet, your CBD store can help. Your CBD store, where good health hits home. After that segment, I have no idea what we're doing next, but we will do something on Jox 94.5. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 8:50, Thursday, June 26th on Jox 94.5. Going to attempt to move on to a different topic here. But before we move, if you're looking to move out of your home, Greg, who should you call?
That would be Crocker Moving Search. They're a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys, and you can trust them in your home. They did your whole home packed up move. Your company headquarters moved across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room. These guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you purchase need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website, CrockerMovingServices.com. That's CrockerMovingServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Service for your next move.
Every time you do that read, I think of two things. This is a very dangerous segment, specifically if you are Tom Hart. I think of, I almost don't even want to do it.
Do it.
Country Crock, the butter.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the best part when we had that conversation before is how people use the containers for things afterwards. So, like, if you made a bagel or had blueberry muffins and you were like, ooh, yeah, I got to get some of this butter on there. And it was SpaghettiOs from the day before. Like,
Yeah.
no!
You got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
And then Betty Crocker.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Sweet treats.
We're staying on the lines of ADD here.
I was about to say,
how certain things make you think of like just totally
Didn't know we were
other
medical
things.
show as well.
We actually, we might be, so I don't medicate. Today might be a day to medicate for the ADD because it's been that bad. Because I just went down another rabbit hole.
Of?
I got an email. And
Congrats.
Right now, I know. You're welcome. Brag about it. I get it. I know. I got an email, guys. Sorry. Kick up the flavor. Summer's hottest condiments and sauces. In the picture, Tapatio hot sauce.
There's better ones, but okay.
I couldn't tell you a name of one.
Heinz
Louisiana?
tomato ketchup packets.
Texas Pete.
Not a bottle, a packet. Like I'm gonna buy.
You're trying to tell me people would choose to use ketchup packets other than a bottle?
Pre-portioned ketchup packets? Like what are we doing? Like I can only have one packet of ketchup a day. This is my limit. A1 steak sauce.
Okay.
And Cheese Whiz.
One of those is unlike the other.
Wow.
Those are the 4 condiments that are on display that I can buy right now for a really, really nice discount.
I'm going to
About
say
10%.
Cheese Whiz and A1 go nowhere near one another at any portion in time.
Oh, they're right next to each other in the picture.
See, I get that, but I don't. Those are very different product helpers. Those are very different consumption points, I feel like.
Here's what I love most about this. It's giving me the sizes of what I can purchase. I can get 6.5 pounds of Cheese Whiz.
Pounds.
For $121.50.
How does that come? In
I think just
canisters?
by the pound. 6.5
How do you distribute
pounds
it?
of Cheese Whiz. I need to know, in what world could you ever go through 6.5 pounds of Cheese Whiz? I happen to be a Cheese Whiz fan. I don't regularly consume it.
When you brought this up during the break, that's what I thought. I have no problem with it. I think I will say Cheese Whiz on wheat thins is an amazing snack.
Yes, agreed.
I just couldn't tell you the last time I had Cheese Whiz. We just don't really have it in our home.
No, us either.
So
I'm shocked by that. So considering my wife does the grocery shopping and is like anti-processed foods, I'm shocked that you're not a big Cheese Whiz person. Because I would imagine that Kat, her buying habits are somewhat similar to Meredith's
she's
buying habits.
down that path. Yeah,
yeah, a little bit.
So I haven't had it in a long time.
I'm about to get back on it. 6.5 pounds.
You got 6 pounds worth,
hey,
dog.
Let's put it.
You better buy
In the
every
cafe.
cracker they make.
I want to know how big it is. 6.5 pounds has got to be a pretty decent sized tub of Cheese Whiz.
No, you're not getting a tub of it. It's
Now,
just in the canisters and they're weighing it.
We were in Dallas last week. Visited some friends. One of our friends did the grocery shopping. She bought some sour cream. We were going to do fajitas one night, and it was ended up being a delicious meal. However, we got a 5-gallon canister of sour cream.
Seems like a lot. How many people were there?
It took up an entire shelf in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
We put a dent in it.
Were you guys going to make nachos the whole weekend?
It was
Quesadillas?
the biggest.
Baked potatoes?
It was the biggest can of sour cream I've ever seen.
Did you get a pallet of potatoes?
All right.
How many things does sour cream go
Y'all
on?
open up a
Dude.
food truck?
She was like, I didn't mean to get one this big. I'm like, you think? Are we taking that home? Like, how long does sour cream last?
I don't know the answer to that, but not long enough to get through 5 pounds
Think about that.
in one container.
Right.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you this. It was the size of 2 of these things. So what is this? Like 11 by 17
Yes.
or 11 by 8.5. It's like a regular size paper. So probably let's call it 12 by 10. It was 1.5 of these. It was 12 by 15. Why? If I were to just measure it, and it was cylindrical. So
Our buddy Brad Buchanan tweets in and says, yes, 1.5. It's to the point where I hear some of the people speak on TV and live, and they sound bizarre. So you're messing up your personal interaction with people,
Yeah.
folks, if you're doing this, just so you know.
That's the way I see it.
I think we need to finish the hot sauce conversation also, because that's one that can be very selective in different ways. And I need details from certain people on it. Maybe we'll ask Wimp Sanderson about his hot sauce consumption next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Wimp Sanderson joins us each and every week at this time, thanks to our friends at Coke and Piggly Wiggly. Coach, do you listen to podcasts at faster speeds?
No, I don't really know how to listen to them as well. I've always thought that when a guy gets in the car, if he's like me, an older guy, I don't turn on podcast. I turn on the radio.
Okay.
So I don't. That's just me. But anyway, you two guys are my two favorite helmet heads. You know more than anybody. And I usually ask you a question about football to make you talk, but I don't have a lot to ask.
I have questions for you today, so
Okay.
I'll start with this. Are you a hot sauce guy?
Yeah, to some degree. Yeah, I am. I can handle hot sauce. Yeah.
He's not scared.
No, I'm not scared of hot sauce. I'll go with it. Yeah.
Certain food items that you definitely have to have it or not have it?
Oh, I have to have sweets. Pecan pie with vanilla ice cream on it. Got to have that. Yeah, I want anything chocolate. I eat all chocolate. I've lost a lot of weight because I lost my wife, and I had to help her for all this time, tried to save her and couldn't. But I lost 15 or 20 pounds trying to lift somebody. You know, lifting a lady like that is dead. I don't want to get into that. That's dead weight, and it's harder to lift than you think. But I'll get back to that one. Shouldn't say that. Just chocolate is my favorite. I love chocolate. I eat chocolate, and I'm going to eat chocolate every time I have a chance to eat something. So I should be getting fat, but no.
What are you one of those people that buys in bulk, Coach?
I would if it's the right bulk. If it's the right stuff, I would. Yeah, I go to Sam's sometimes and buy in bulk. Yeah.
Can I interest you in 6.5 pounds of Cheese Whiz?
I'm gonna pass. I'm going to. Right now I have a pecan pie that I got at Sam's. That Booger Bear will hardly fit in the refrigerator, and it's good pecan pie. Now that's bulk. I mean, that's a big deal for me. So I will buy certain things in bulk and certain things I won't buy in bulk. I go to the dollar store some, and I'll find different things I like. And some things I like. I mean, I got to take care of my dog, and so I got to do all kind of crap. So, go ahead. I'm glad for you to ask questions. It makes y'all don't have me on long anyway, so that's good.
NBA draft last night. I was curious if you had any takeaways from that at all.
Yeah, Cooper Flag and the Duke team. Cooper went first, and the Duke team beat Alabama pretty badly. When I say the word to both you guys, when I say the word Texas and Oklahoma, the first thing you two guys think of is football. Yet the first SEC picker or drafter was Trey Johnson from Texas, and the second one was the Fierce kid from Oklahoma. So while you're thinking that's football, both these guys were 1 and 2 as the first SEC players drafted. The 18th guy drafted was a good player who I felt like really hurt Auburn a great deal. Not felt, he did hurt him. Walter Clayton from Florida, who had a great night against Auburn with number 18. So that's those guys from Duke were a very good team, and Walter Clayton was a good player against Auburn. So drafts will go, and now you will have the good and bad as to who drafted well, who drafted poorly. Let me tell you something. It's just like recruiting. You don't know. You don't know until you get that 4-star in there, thinking he's a 5-star in there, and all of a sudden he's a 2. You don't know all of that, but you have to write all that kind of stuff.
What's the one thing, Coach, from an NBA perspective that makes it so different? Because we talked about this a little bit earlier with rosters and where they are in certain teams and how and why they dominate. Let's just say, for example, Mark Sears, Janai Broome, Grant Nelson, all great college basketball players. Probably not a ton of future in the NBA. Is it size? Is it like what's the biggest differential in you can be really good in this level of ball, but it's going to keep you from being really good at that level of ball?
You know, that's a really great question. I mean, I get on here and yak with y'all, but that's a terrific question. I don't know, particularly, the skill level. They think the skill level is less in one place than it is another. You got Sears who goes to the left a lot, doesn't go to the right, doesn't guard people as well as he should. They're going to be late pickers, and Broom is a kid, and I'm not being ugly about him. He's a kid that does not play above the rim, and so you need to play above the rim in the pros. So that's hurts him some. And the other kid that you mentioned, Elson, sometimes he shoots it well from the three, and sometimes he can't. They just watch them and study them and try to decide what they need. But I think you make a good question there. There are times that you just, and it's like recruiting. And when I recruited basketball players, I recruited some great players, and I took some guys that some people didn't want, and we were successful. And I took some players that I wanted, everybody wanted, and I failed. So I don't know the answer to that, but I think it's hard for me to really say. I just gotta. There are certain, although you have skills, there are certain skills that they don't particularly care for, that you just don't make you quite what you need to be. Now you can go overseas, and used to could and make a bunch of money and maybe come back and show that you're a lot better than they say you are, and make some money in the NBA. So it's hard.
Why is it, Coach, that there's just not very many? I mean, all the time in the NFL, you'll have a guy that gets drafted in the 5th or 6th round that becomes a perennial All-Pro. I mean, it happens a lot. Yes, there are anomalies in the NBA, like a Jokic that goes in the 2nd round and becomes an MVP. But those guys are crazy rare. To find a guy that's drafted tonight in the 2nd round that go on to have all NBA type of potential. Why is it that there are so few sleepers when it comes to the NBA draft?
I don't know why there is. Pretty much the skill level shows itself pretty good. It shows itself a little bit more maybe than football. It just shows itself that I don't know. I don't really have the answer to that. You feel like that there are less sleepers or more?
I feel like there's less. To me, I see a guy like a Ryan Nimhard from Gonzaga, who I've watched. I feel like watched him play for quite a while, and he was, I mean, really good, like a really good player, and did a lot of great things. And yet here he is, probably won't even get drafted tonight. I know he's only 6 foot, but you would think like productivity, I'll roll the dice there. I guess I don't understand like why there aren't those super rock solid college players that kind of develop into becoming a great NBA player, a solid NBA player for a really long time. You just don't find those 2nd round gems in the NBA like you do in other sports.
Yeah, you don't. You just don't. Your skill level is out there pretty where you can really evaluate and really see it a little bit more than you can in other sports. You're kind of hidden a little bit more, I think. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I think it's hard for me to answer. It's just I had some guys that that didn't go real high, and that they end up being great players, and vice versa. So I don't really know. The draft is just like recruiting. The evaluation period they really do a great job of studying and really studying players. If they meet the criteria for their team, they got to be darn sure that they have the ability to play. I don't really have the answer to that. So I haven't done a very good job with your answer.
What is your go-to condiment, Coach?
As far as you mean what?
Condiment,
Food?
anything. Ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, hot sauce.
Mayonnaise.
On how many different things?
Everything.
You dip your French fries in mayonnaise? A lot of people do that.
Yeah. Mayonnaise is what I do. Yeah, that's right. All right, let me ask you guys.
Have you ever purchased a 5-gallon tub of mayonnaise like Greg's wife?
Sour cream.
No.
Sour cream, excuse me.
Well, sour cream? No. Mayonnaise either. No, it ruined on me.
What about like Famous sauce, Coach? You like Famous sauce?
Oh, it's okay. I'm not just
Turkeys?
crazy about it, but it's okay. If it's something sweet, I'll eat it.
Miracle Whip?
Miracle Whip or mayonnaise? I was going to ask that.
In order to watch my weight at one time, I put Miracle Whip in a jug with all fruit. and stir it up, and that's my salad.
Coach, wait a second. Wait a second.
Yeah.
That's how you watch your weight, or you were trying to gain weight?
No, I don't gain weight. I'll put it all fruit in there. Sometimes I don't put the Miracle Whip in there. Sometimes I do. But I got oranges and grapes and all kind of fruit, and I buy it by the big cans. And I go in and I pour it in one thing, and I stir it up. And I might put something in there and make it a little bit better. But that's what I eat.
Like you're drinking that? Or?
Huh? No, I eat it.
It's like fruit. A can of peaches. You pour that whole thing in there, or you just take the peaches out?
But I got to cut the peaches up. Yeah, I got to cut them up.
How big of a jug are we talking about here that you're eating this from?
A pretty good jug.
Like a gallon?
No, half gallon.
Half gallon. All right. So, and you're taking how much Miracle Whip in that?
Not a whole lot, but a little bit to make it white looking and a little
like
bit
a cup,
better.
half a cup, cup.
Well, I don't know about half a cup. Half a cup, you could.
And just I don't really know the difference either, Coach. But I'm just saying, like I'm picturing Miracle Whip with a bunch of strawberries and.
I don't like strawberries.
I'll try it.
Oranges,
like
peaches.
You stir oranges, yeah, they are oranges, peaches, grapes.
And you somehow convinced yourself this was good for you?
Well, I didn't think it was bad for me. Was it bad? I don't think it was. Fruit.
Yes. Well, just like me and sweet potato fries. Sweet potatoes?
Yeah. All right. Before we leave, I know you want me to leave, but let me ask you one question. Every time I talk to somebody on the show, they're talking about how how coaches are going to try to get around the committee and get a player more NIL money. Now they're going to try to do that.
They already are.
Committee, huh?
They already are. They're already figuring out ways to do it.
Well, the committee gets three. You get three tries. The first try they turn it down. Second time they try it down. Third time they evaluate it more. It takes a long time. But when you go to try to get this guy more NIL money, you got to be slick. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see as many as come to these people, these guys, 3 guys, 4 guys, whatever it is, and try to evaluate every cotton picking day of all the guys who are trying to get NIL money. You don't have time to judge it, do you, guys? I mean, you don't
I don't know about even judging it, Coach. You just don't. You don't have the manpower to.
That's right.
To observe it, and it's already happening. I mean, money's being promised to these guys that's not going through the NIL go whatever it's called.
Yeah. Well, Greg, what do you think about that? Are you still there?
He left,
yeah, I'm
Coach.
still here.
Greg, what do you think about how they will handle cheating?
I don't
NIL?
think. I think that there are. I just don't know yet, Coach. Like, I really don't. I think the College Sports Commission is going to be real tight about this. And as we've seen the last couple of weeks, like, programs are no longer going to stand by the wayside and allow tampering to go on. Like, we're seeing actual court cases and accusations made public by universities against other universities now. There's going to be more whistleblowing, and there's going to actually be an arm that can go in and handle these sort of things. I don't think it's worth it, to be honest with you. Like, I think right now, if you all of a sudden get a postseason ban and you're allegedly tampering, like, that's significant because the access to the play, it's not like you're missing the Meineke Car Care Bowl.
I'm an assistant football coach, and I got to get the guy. I ain't gonna say anything to the general manager, and my head coach is not gonna know it. But I got to get the Booger Bear. So
I don't think you can do it. I mean, I think this. Are there ways around it? Sure. Like, yes, but it's going to have to actually be fair market value, and that'll be challenged a million times. But fair market value is fair market value, and I anticipate that being heavily policed. But we'll see. I mean,
it'll be heavily challenged too by certain kids that they try to say somehow it's not fair market value. Coach Thomas Mars is going to be in a DeLorean heading towards that case.
Okay. All right. One more thing, and I know we're going to get rid of it. Cole.
Yes,
article
sir.
is written about the number of times that the head football coach at Auburn played golf, which is stupid.
How do they know?
I don't
The only this is why we haven't talked about this on the show today, Coach. How do they know?
Well, the mistake he made is put his scores down, and that
Where?
doesn't make any difference. We had the best athletic director, and I'm not going to tell you who because I was under several of them. The best athletic director ever at Alabama, who they said played too much golf. If he'd have cut his grass that number of times, they wouldn't have said a cotton picking word. And so you got articles coming out because nobody has anything to write right now. Everything's speculation. That the reason Auburn's recruiting went down a little bit was because he was playing golf when he should have been shaking hands, which I think was stupid. Any comment on that?
Well, hold on. Which part do you think is stupid?
Well, I don't know that you might could play golf at 6:00 at night and have already seen everybody that day. I mean, I think it's stupid to write an article like that because you don't. I know it was stupid in case of the guy that was our athletic director. He was terrific. He hit golf balls the same time I did. I hit golf balls at 6:00 at night. Sometimes.
Here's the problem, coaches. There's a couple ways to look at this. Okay, I have been. I can't play golf anymore, but I've been invited to go and ride with guys and be a part of a couple tournaments. I have ridden in groups with assistant college football coaches that at least every 3 holes were on FaceTime with recruits. And I just remember asking them, what are we doing? Do you have to do this every day? And they're like, every day. It's just so I think some coaches don't let it interfere with their regular routine or their daily life. They'll take a FaceTime call. They'll talk to the kid, whatever. Now, the problem is, I think right now, are they on the road right now, Greg? I know they were 2 weeks ago.
No, the head coach cannot be on the road.
So
the assistants can.
There's another. How dumb is that? I mean, what?
Well, it is dumb. All
right, but the other part here, Coach.
I want to talk to the head coach.
Here's the other part. What is reality? Perception, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you're not winning a lot of games, and the perception is you'd rather be on the golf course than grinding on tape or calling recruits or talking to your guys or coaching them up somehow, some way, people don't care about your schedule, your hobbies, your habits, nothing. They don't care. So if they think that you're out screwing around and that's their opinion of what golf is, then they're going to be pissed off about it. I don't know the details of it, so I'm not going to get emotional about it. I'm not going to say it's dumb. I'm not going to call him out. I'm not going to say it's the greatest thing ever because I just don't know enough about it. If I had talked to Hugh and he told me I golf because I hate recruiting, therefore that's why I did it 6 times last week, I'd be like, hey, man, we might have a problem on our hands. And I'd probably get on the radio and sound really upset about it. But I hadn't talked to him about it, and I don't know the details on it, so – did somebody get a copy of his scorecard history? Is he trying to get a lower handicap and they got record of it?
Gin. You can post your score to the Gin.
What is the Gin?
I have a lot of thoughts on this. I'd love to.
Hold on. What is the Gin?
The Gin is a handicap app so that you can. It's fair. You put your scores in. It makes your handicap honest so that you can play in tournaments and against your buddies, and everyone can. Some guys don't plug in scores. Some guys do. I mean. I think it's admirable that he's plugging in scores, to be honest with you. And frankly, I don't care if he's playing golf because you know what I believe? I believe life requires balance. And I don't think people understand that. I don't care. You can be the greatest head coach. You can be the president of the United States. You can be all those things. Life requires balance. And if you're going to maximize your abilities in whatever field it is you want to be in, you have to have balance. So I know when he's at the golf course, I know he's never that disconnected from the facility. I also know that when he's at the facility, there's probably longing to go, man, I'd love to have a little bit of free time. So life is about balance. I think balance in your life is beneficial for the long-term health, mental health of your coach and your organization.
People don't care about that, though.
The guy that's criticizing you's got balance. That's for sure. And I know it's different. In football, you've got to show wins and losses. Players win games. No doubt about it. There's two factors in winning games. That's your players and your schedule. Those two factors are the most important. I've worked my butt off knowing what to do the years I had the job. But we got players, and I'm glad of it. And we studied our schedule and we played the same 18-game round robin schedule. But
I think, Coach, I think the other problem. I think the other problem with it right now is it's easy to get upset with a lot of these classes now. I mean, I can remember having conversations with you that certain Alabama fans are upset because Coach Saban's class was 42nd or 53rd, and we were months away from signing day. And then all of a sudden it was 20, and then all of a sudden it was 10, and then all of a sudden it was Alabama, Clemson, Georgia. Who's going to finish with the number one class? And I mean, if they have a top 200 class when it's all said and done, people can be mad and frustrated. I just USC has the number one class in the nation right now, I think. Are we all thinking they're going to go win a title? I don't.
No.
So
you wake me up one of these nights and say, well, USC and UCLA is in the Big Ten. I'd say that's a dream. I mean, that don't even make sense. Everything changes as we go. We like to compare coaches. We like to compare teams. We like to compare everything we can. But everything, as you go through the years, when I coached, the only thing I had to damn sure win 20 games.
That's it.
That was the criteria for me.
That's it.
So,
great stuff, Coach. We appreciate the time as always. And we know each and every
show today. I talk about nothing. It's pretty good.
No,
Piggly Wiggly.
I think it was a good combo, Coach.
I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't bad.
No. Miracle Whip and fruit. Mix it up. Drink it. There you go.
Okay, Piggly Wiggly and Coke. Let's use some Coke right after you eat that fruit salad, and go to Piggly Wiggly and visit with them. I had lunch with Stanley Visiglio yesterday, who's a big Piggly Wiggly man, and they are absolutely great people. Good ribs coming up for 4th of July, and I appreciate you guys having me on. Y'all are terrific. I enjoy being on. I listen to you all the time. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong.
Thanks, Coach. Never wrong. I don't think we've ever been wrong. Only every day. All right, I want to go. I guess we have to have this conversation now because the people are talking about it. Do we know where the article is, Damian? Have you seen it? Do you know what it is?
It's on AL.com, I believe.
Well, good. We got Michael Casagrande coming up next. He can tell us about it. Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Michael Casagrande of AL.com will join us on the Higginbotham hotline here in just a moment. First, Craig, tell our listeners about Shannara Flooring.
Well, Shannara Flooring does a great job, first and foremost, but right now is about as good a time as you could possibly ask for to get with Shannara Flooring and take advantage of some savings. They have 40,000 square feet of Core-Tec flooring in stock right now, and that's the 100% waterproof, pet-proof, very durable flooring that will increase the value of your home or business. With all that inventory, they're capable of now giving $5 off per box when you order it from Shannara Flooring. And if you don't want to go with Core-Tec, you want to go in a different direction, the sky's the limit on what you might save. You get 15% off flooring now through July 2nd. So it's about to run out. Make sure you take advantage of it. And the savings start at $150 and only go up from there. You get 12 months financing with approved credit. You can see it all online for Shannara Flooring at fooandyou.com.
All right, Michael Casagrande of AL.com with us now on the Higginbotham hotline. And before we go into your article on Hugh Freeze and playing golf, we discussed Kalen DeBoer a little bit earlier in the show. And you have followed this program for a long time. You know the expectations that come with that seat. You know some of the perimeter distractions around it. And we referenced Ari Wasserman discussing how Alabama needs to become scary again. They need to become a team that people fear again. Do you think that that is possible? And do you think that that has been lost from this program, not necessarily just because Kalen DeBoer taking over in his direction, just because Nick Saban is now gone?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good point. It's a good question. I think even Thomas Castellanos of the Florida State quarterback saying what he said the other day about being able to run all over Alabama and Nick Saban's not there anymore. I think that was almost an indication that people aren't scared in that sense like they used to be of this program. And can they get back there? It's not necessarily Kalen DeBoer's personality where he sets a tone of like this fear-based program like Nick Saban had, where he was kind of the Death Star. He was Darth Vader leading his team. He's got a different outlook, personality. I mean, maybe to some degree that they can create some sort of intimidation factor if they get a defense that can do things like they used to. But I think the days of Alabama walking in the stadium with a 10-point lead just because of the name of the uniform, those days might be harder to reachieve.
Looking at how Kalen DeBoer is entering into the season from a personality standpoint, I mean, you've been around him a lot. You've been around the program a lot and for a long time. How much more comfortable is Kalen DeBoer this year as compared to last year? Because I get the sense that he's got a much better sense of what the environment's like and what's expected of him as the head coach.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that would be true of almost anyone in a second year of a job. I mean, he was truly coming from a different planet packing into this SEC to Alabama, a whole new world, and just trying to get his program in line, trying to get his coaching staff, all that stuff, all that timeline was even pushed deeper into the offseason than a traditional coaching change. So I think there was a lot of finding the sea legs, finding just how it all works. I mean, any job, I think any job I've ever had, the best day is day 366 when you've already gone through a full calendar of everything you're going to see for the most part. I think there's always going to be a comfort level that he's going to find with this second year. I just the little bit I've been around him, I guess you can see more at ease. Not that he was anxious a year ago, but he was still trying to figure it out. And I think he's got more of the people he wants. He's got his coaching staff closer aligned with where he wanted to be. He's got Ryan Grubb back. So I think some of those things, there's more comfort for sure with where he is.
All right, obviously, Hugh Freeze has gotten comfortable playing a little bit more golf. You have an article up at AL.com now about him spending some extra time on the course, which Greg explained the ways that he records his score may or may not be a lot more than a lot of other people. We don't really know because not everybody's putting their scores in. Mm-hmm. I understand that a lot of people are going to go in a very negative direction with this, in that you're attempting to say that he can't win games because he's coaching, but I feel like where you were headed, you can correct me if you're wrong, is just that what this does in the court of public opinion. And there's a portion of that is maybe heading in the wrong direction. What was your mindset when putting this together as to what's happening with Hugh Freeze because of being off the golf course?
Sure. Yeah. No, I think the whole idea was it's a bad visual when you're 11-14 in 2 seasons. It just kind of stacks on some of the other things he said in the off season, some of the interviews. It's just not if I was an Auburn fan, it's not what I would want to be hearing or not what I want to be seeing. Kind of the excuses. We were so close. We need another year of recruiting. We need 3 years of recruits before we can be where we want to be. And it's just not the kind of inspirational talk you want to hear from a coach who's trying to rebuild or turn around a program that's hit the mediocre range. And if he's making excuses, then he's spending half the month of June on the golf course when it's recruiting season, when it's supposed to be a very busy recruiting season, camps, everything. And I'm not saying other coaches don't golf. I don't know other coaches' golf schedule, but when you're recording your scores in a publicly available database, it just opens the door for more questions about where's your head, where's your commitment level, how important is this?
The only issue that I have is that I do feel that these programs kind of recruit themselves now. Like the amount of time spent, quote, developing the relationship, it's mostly done with the assistant coaches to begin with, and the head coach is kind of dealing in dollars and cents. And I think just the optics of what recruiting used to be, I can understand where it would be somewhat problematic. But I also think that recruiting's changed so drastically that it's more transactional than it's ever been before. And it's not like he really struggled recruiting last year, nor did he struggle recruiting the transfer portal last year either. So I guess I'm just not that concerned. I mean, is that a reasonable pushback?
Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely there's definitely room for a variety of opinions on this, and it's not something that like a reader said it must be a slow news day, and I said it's June 20 something. Of course, it's a slow news day. We got to write something. But yeah, as soon as I saw it, it was kind of the thought that came to my mind. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure the recruiting calendar, the recruiting apparatus has evolved and changed, but it's just, I guess, to me, it's more about the message that it sends to the fan base that is trying to get excited about a season, getting excited about a program that is stuck in the middle, 5 and 7 seasons. And if the perception is the coach isn't trying, it doesn't even matter if it's the truth. If it's the perception that people have out there, then like, what are we doing?
Michael Casagrande of AO.com joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Where do you think public perception is right now with Hugh Freeze, and how much do you believe that matters?
That's also a good question too, because it's the perception. The most important perception is the athletic director, the administration at Auburn. It doesn't seem like there are any concerns from any reporting I've seen about the status of his job. If this turns into a great season, if he has a great year, then like there's a lot of egg on my face for. I brought it up a few times this offseason of just the way the general demeanor and attitude towards where things stand. And they've got talent and they could very well turn it around. But if you can start stacking these kind of like this evidence against the coach, who knows how vocal people will get and will turn on a coach who hasn't performed yet.
Is there a possibility that maybe he feels so good about this team that creating balance in his own life is necessary for him to be able to give the team his very best this fall?
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I even thought about that, and I maybe probably should have included that when I wrote that, because like I've said to a lot of people that this is an important time of year, especially in our line of work or anybody who's centered around football season, that recharging is important. And maybe I put too much into the fact that he makes so many millions of dollars that he doesn't get the same kind of rundown battery at this time of year when they need to recharge for the season. So, there's definitely holes that can be poked in my argument. And,
Certainly
see,
not doing
you know,
that. Certainly not doing that. By the way, just presenting a different angle. Like,
That's fair.
I think
No,
everything you
it's-
wrote is 100% fair. By the way, just
Yeah,
so you know,
I think it's
just
all
so you
fair.
know, I think
No,
it's all
no, and
100%
it's-
fair. I just think that there's a lot of layers to this, and
Oh,
I
for
just
sure.
think this. I think the strong reaction has to do with one, the time. It's June, and two, the fact that he's already kind of developed a bit of a. The program is underachieved. Let's just be real. Based on what they did last year, they underachieved. That team was better than their record indicated, and that's why I think people are uneasy.
Yeah. I think they have, and they have a lot of potential this year. The freshmen, the receivers that were young last year, they're going to be a year older. They're going to have a better quarterback conceivably. So I was high on this team a year ago, and maybe I feel a little burned because I wrote a preseason column saying I think Auburn's going to be a lot better than people think, and then they do what they did. So maybe I'm just trying to hold them to the standard that I thought they would be a year ago, and then they weren't. So I just want to be right.
Yeah, I think we all do. Michael Casagrande joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Article up now at AL.com. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate the time. Let's do it again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
There you go. Michael Casagrande with some discussion points on where that is, what that is. You said you had some thoughts on it, Greg. We'll get to some of those on the other side. You have to wait to hear Greg's thoughts on it, but one thing you never have to wait for, Greg, is your dental care.
That's because Family Dental has you taken care of. The urgent care office, you can be seen the same day. Several locations to make it easy on you. In Hoover, Fultondale, Homewood, Alabaster, and Trustful, they can get you in the same day. Routine appointments now lead to free teeth whitening. And it's nice to know that most insurance plans are accepting. They can see you on Fridays and Saturdays as well. So it's Family Care Dental. Call them at 874-9605. That's 874-9605.
We'll discuss it further next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. We'll shed some light on a little bit more of the Hugh Freeze golfing story. Now, tell us again the GIN.
So GIN is a database of all golfers that want to play competitively. If you want to just go out and shoot a million, that's fine. You don't need a handicap. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have it. But if you want to play competitively, if you want to play against friends, and to level the playing field, so to speak, different people have different handicaps. So, for example, like Coach Freeze, I think is like a 7.2 or whatever. So playing against a scratch golfer, Hugh Freeze, if they played just a standard course, would get 7 shots to level the playing field. So that scratch golfer would have to, if they're playing match play, beat him on 7 holes by at least a stroke to win the match. My handicap is a 5.9. So if I'm playing a scratch golfer, it'd probably round to a 6. I'd get 3 shots on the front 9, 3 shots on the back 9 to level the playing field. It's just, that's the way it works. Honestly, it's admirable to plug your scores. That is like a really admirable thing to do. Some people don't, in an effort to inflate their handicap so that come tournament time, they have a more advantageous path to potentially winning the tournament. So all that is real. All that's fair. I guess my biggest frustration as it surrounds this whole story is it's one, low-hanging fruit. It's completely low-hanging fruit. Are you supposed to be you can play golf now with carts and pace of play and how fast people play. You can play golf now 2.5, 3 hours. You really can. You can play really, really fast nowadays. You're not walking. You're not carrying your bag. You're not pushing a cart. You can play fast. Are you expected to be in the office 12 hours a day in June? Is that expected? Is that part of the job description? I don't think it is. I know plenty of guys that go out right now because the sun sets at 8 o'clock at night that can tee off at 5 and finish 18 holes. And, by the way, have a totally productive workday. Also, with the advent of FaceTime, with iPads, other technology, you can bring your work onto the course with you. That is 100% within reason. The other thing, too, these guys' jobs are hard enough. The family life balance, nobody gets mad at Dan Lanning when he leaves work at 12:30 to go watch his son compete in a flag football tournament for the rest of the afternoon on a Wednesday. Nobody's mad at him for that. Like, this system of checks and balances in the SEC is amazing, and I love it. But I think the expectation is when you see the salaries these guys are making, the expectation is from your own vantage point. I don't make $6 million a year. So if I did, I'd be in the office all day, every day. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. You would create balance in your own life. And these lives are extremely stressful. They're very, very hard, especially the second toe meets leather on July 28th. When they go to camp, if he's still playing 10 rounds in August, please, we will re-engage in this conversation. But you're telling me a guy can't have some balance of personal life and professional life and find success in both? Like, do you want guys with kids to be deadbeat dads so that your team can win a couple more games?
Unfortunately, people are saying yes right now. Certain people.
That's not reality. Like, the world has changed. We've become more efficient as a society. You can do things. You have staffs now that can do things on your behalf. Like, we've all acknowledged that the head coach's job now is to fundraise as much as anything else. Do you think he's just playing golf by himself, or you think he's playing golf with people that might actually, I don't know, down the road support the program? Maybe he is working on the golf course. You don't know that.
That's what you try to say when you play, that it's work.
And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But there have been things done on the golf course that have actually been productive on a professional level. That is a real thing. And you talk to any of these coaches. What's your job, coach? Well, to be honest with you right now, I mean, pretty much all I'm trying to do is raise money for the NIL. Oh, cool. How do you do that? Well, play a little golf. Or go and speak at the speaking event. Or go and do this, go and do that. Like, how do you know he's not working?
Yeah. We'll have more on
I
this.
just don't think it's fair. I mean, and honestly, like everything that Michael Cascarande said in his article is 100% fair. That is 100% fair. It's an observation, and it doesn't look good in the court of public opinion because guess what? All of us as normal 9-to-5 jobbers, we all want to go play golf every day. That's like an amazing, amazing experience to be outside in the sun on a beautiful golf course, swinging a golf club. It's relaxing. It's therapeutic. It's all these things. It's amazing. And yes, we're jealous. 100% we're jealous. I'd love to play 10 rounds in 20 days. I would die to play 10 rounds in 20 days, but it's not realistic. I haven't earned that freedom. Hugh Freeze has. And I think that to me is why it's just not necessarily an apples to apples comparison and why I understand why people have been critical. I just don't think it necessarily tells the whole story.
Okay. We'll follow up with this. There's more to say on it, and we'll try to do that right after this on Mac and Cube in the morning. finish up this conversation on college coaches, golf in just a moment. For over 50 years, my friends at Royal Automotive have been helping our friends and neighbors experience how car buying should be. Right now, get financing as low as 0% with approved credit on select models through June 30th. Certain restrictions apply. 4 dealerships, 1 destination, unmatched selection and savings. Royal Buick GMC, Royal Volkswagen, Royal Automart, Volvo Cars of Vestavia Hills. All at the corner of I-65 and Highway 31 of Vestavia. From sales to service, the team at Royal can help you find that new ride. Got a test drive for multiple vehicles right there because you have multiple dealerships on one lot. When they say for every ride, there's Royal. That's why. Corner of I-65, Highway 31 of Vestavia. Online, royalautomotive.net. Remember, for every ride, there's Royal. So you're not upset with this. You're not bothered by this. This is not an issue for you like it is a lot of people as far as the rounds of golf that Hugh Freeze has played in the last whatever amount of months.
It's not. It's not a huge issue for me. I think he deserves balance this time of year. You get like month and a half as a college coach where you don't have to be all in every day. So I think you should take advantage of that time. And I think in the fall, you're going to have a healthier mindset as a coach. You'll be better for your team if you've created some balance for yourself in the offseason.
If his record was reversed, would you say that this mattered less?
If he had won 9 games last year, I don't think anyone would be saying anything.
I mean, winning, like you said, winning solves everything. And at the end of the day, this will probably be brought up again if Auburn wins 6 or 7. This will not get a single mention if they win 9 or 10. That's
life.
Yep. It's where it is. So,
and I get it.
And like I told you, maybe it's because I've coordinators, assistant coaches, I've sat in a golf cart for 18 holes with them and seen them skip holes because they're FaceTiming a recruit in Fort Lauderdale, or the kid from Georgia calls, so they got to go talk to him and he doesn't putt his ball out on that hole and he meets us at the next tee box. Like, I've seen that multiple times. So not mad about it yet, but I do understand from a perception standpoint where it could frustrate certain people. 3-man front coming at you next.